All right, everybody. Welcome to Thursday Night's Fish North Georgia, the live well here for you guys. We appreciate you guys joining us tonight. Got a fantastic show in store for you. I got a living legend, and I got a local pro right here that's going to be talking bass fishing tonight. A lot of good stories, a lot of good information is going to be shared with you guys. But first, let's take care of some business. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. You have no idea how important that is. And also check out our members only. Here in the next month, we're going to add a lot of features to that, including a buyers club that I think you guys are really going to enjoy by supporting the channel. We're going to give you a lot of great discounts and everything. Also, if you're watching on TikTok, Facebook, the Facebook group page at Fish North Georgia, Instagram, all that stuff, make sure you like and subscribe. And we're going to talk about our sponsors real quick. We're going to start off with Opson Fluorocarbon, Opson USA. Guys, listen. Highland Reservoirs, that's what we fish. You guys know how important a good quality fluorocarbon is. Guys, go to OpsonUSA.com, enter in FNG, and you get 20% off of any purchase there. And they're getting ready to go into the retail market. So check that out. If you hang around about halfway through the show, we got the Opson question of the week. It's a good one. Kevin Thornton did not do it this week, so it's a little bit easier. We had a viewer do it. I think you guys are going to like it. We got a new sponsor tonight. Put that thing up on the page right there. Lipsticker Fishing, Kevin Underwood. Guys, listen. If you want to bass fish, Kevin is the official guide of Fish North Georgia. And I'm telling you, I've been out with him. I talked to a lot of his customers. It's a great time. He really loves and really loves to go after those trophy spots. And the man can fish. So check him out. Let me give you his number. We haven't got to the point where we got his number, everything. He's got it right there in the comment section, 678-459-8419. Or you can reach out to him, Kevin at lipsticker.com, or you can message him directly on Facebook. And I'll tell you, you will have a fantastic time, and you will learn about Sonar. I learned so much when I was out with him. And now we've got Sonar Pros. Listen, the pros take their boats to Trent and the guys up there to get it done right. All right, if the pros are taking their boats to Trent, I highly recommend you guys doing it too. If you guys want it, absolutely. Done it right, correct. Pop that thing back up one more time for me right there. Give him a call, 770-530-4505, by appointment only. By appointment only. You guys remember that. And then we've got Turner Tire here in Jasper, Georgia. Everybody knows Brock Turner in the Lake Lanier area, a great family-owned business. If you need tires or anything like that for your vehicle, call Brock and the guys. They will set you up right, treat you with great customer service, and you will have a fantastic experience. Yeah, next. Yeah, I was like, yeah. I got my producer looking at me in the background like I missed somebody. No, I didn't. Festive Waters. All right, guys, if you're in the kayak game, kind of like these guys behind me, these crazy kayakers out here, if you're into that game, you need to check out Festive Waters. You can reach them at festivewaters.com. Hey, fishing kayaks for pleasure. They do paddle boards, and I even believe they rent them as well. So if you want to try one out, definitely check out Nathan Skinner and the guys out there at Festive Waters. And, of course, my favorite of all my sponsors, and I love them all, but we got Etowah Mead Beer and Wine up in Dahlonega, Georgia. And tonight, Cane Break, all right? So it is a black currant mead. You guys know, hey, I'm really getting into this mead. If you want to order some mead, if you don't want to take a trip up to Dahlonega, which I do highly recommend to their facility, they can ship mead to you. They got a lot of great flavors. They do beer. They do some stuff that's on tap in there that you can't get in a can. And I'm telling you, they got a thing up there called Happy Camper. If you guys like like a dark stout beer, hey, you will absolutely love it. Tell them the guys at FNG sent you up there. And now that we've took care of business, I want to introduce my guest for tonight. I put it on the Fish North Georgia group page as a local living legend. And I've been talking to people for about 2 years now. And I told him this, that I've been trying to get this man, Paul Driskell, to come on the show. And I reached out to him last week and show that pretty mug right there. Look at that man. He's smiling. He's been up here for about an hour. I think I've got him broke in. So hopefully I've got him relaxed enough. But Mr. Driskell's in the house, and we're going to talk about how Lanier has changed, over the 30-plus years he's been fishing in at some of his tournaments, across his life, some of the things that he's done, and how to catch bass right now on Lake Lanier. And to my right, I got NPFL pro Rob Wrobleski.
How's it going, guys?
I finally got to where I can say your name right.
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah, I'm getting close.
You did very well.
So I'm on, how's it officially? Wrobleski? Wrobleski.
You got it.
I got
there
it.
Wrobleski. Took him 2 years, but you got
2 years. So he's in the house tonight. And again, guys, we're going to have a lot of fun. I see a lot of you guys are already commenting. Yes, Kevin Thornton, we miss you and the chicken tonight. We had to eat pork rinds. So beer and pork rinds was on the menu tonight. But you guys see the crowd behind us. We got a good crowd up here, and I appreciate it. And anytime you are in the area on a Thursday night, feel free to come in. I say the best time, the show's great, but the hour before the show and then the time after the show, you're going to, good conversations just like we're going to have in here. You guys are always, always welcome. And to go ahead and drop a little bomb on you guys, next week, Kaz Anderson will be in studio. And Jordan Lee, two-time Bassmaster Classic champion, we're going to be piping him in from Alabama. So you guys definitely want to, stay tuned for that. Camera focus is off, Luke. I think, Luke, you might just be blind. So which camera are we off on? I love our comment section because them guys tell us what's going on. So Will Hawkins says you got to get home early, got to get sleep for your tourney. So when you got a tournament?
I leave Saturday for Logan.
Leave Saturday for Logan. So anyway, Kaz Anderson is the man. Yeah, but I'm telling you right now, I got the man right beside me. So Mr. Driskell, how are you doing, bud?
Doing great.
Doing great. You nervous?
Bad.
So I promise we're going to take it easy on you.
Okay.
So just for somebody, you're well known in the Lake Lanier area. And, your reputation precedes you. But just for somebody who doesn't know Paul Driskell, kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been fishing.
I didn't have a father figure that took me fishing. And when I was, 10 and up, my uncle, he would take me. And I just, from that point, I enjoyed it.
Right.
Then 38 years ago, I started dabbling at Lake Lanier in the tournament, just going out there and donate my money, and got hooked on it. But let's get something straight. I'm no legend.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know where they come up with that. I'm a guy that rode the short bus my whole life. I wore a helmet, towed a bag of crayons. I thought it'd be a good idea to start fishing, just so I could go around and say I was hung and I wouldn't be lying.
Yeah, I got you. But you've been fishing Lake Lanier for a long time. How long did you tell me before the show started? 30 plus years?
30 plus years, 35.
Yeah, you've seen the lake change and all. And did you guys change the quality to 1880D? It's clear here. So, yeah, I don't know what we did. Some of you guys are saying it's a little grainy, but it might just be the internet. So everything's hooked up right. So if we're grainy, hey, listen, you don't want to see my ugly mug anyway. You just listen.
I pulled it up on my phone. It
looks good someplace. So it might be the local TDS internet right here. So what's really cool about tonight, and we're gonna take it easy on you. So you ain't got to be nervous. I told you it changes once we say it's live and we start talking. But between Rob, who is now going into his second year, you took a year off. You're going into your second year of the NPFL. And between Mr. Driskell here, there is a lot of tournament experience at a high level. And, you and I were talking earlier, you've noticed a change in fishing now. You called yourself the old guy, a lot of high school kids and a lot of younger guys, and you like hanging around them at tournaments.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So, and you're young.
Yeah.
Relatively. How old are you?
39.
39.
No, actually, I'll be 39 in a few more weeks.
That's still young compared to me and Paul. So you're a kid. So, a lot of knowledge right here. So I'm going to start off with a softball easy question for you, and then we'll get into everything. Just kind of get you warmed up, get your juices flowing and all that. I'm going to Lake Lanier tomorrow. I want to catch 20 pounds like all these guys are catching. What do I do? That's the question I get every week. How are these guys consistently catching 19, 20, 21, 22 pounds? What's the secret?
I don't know. There's a secret. If I want to catch 20 pounds, I'm going to have to make a decision. Am I going to go out and live scope these fish over timber, over 40, 50, 60 foot of water, or am I going to put all my eggs in a basket and I'm going to fish 10 foot or less rock all day? I'm going to throw a Cinco, a fluke stick. I don't throw a Cinco very rarely. It's usually a fluke stick. And I'm going to use an 1/8 ounce head, and I'm just going to beat the rocks together. I call them blinkers. I turn my live scope down to where it's not showing anything but that 15 foot or less, and I'm going to look for blinkers. If it's blinks, rocks don't blink. It's a fish laying up there, and he's usually up there for one reason, that's to eat. That's the easiest way I know to catch 20 pounds because timber, you got your young guys that's got it really figured out. I think they can do it. I can't on consistent basis.
Blinkers. That is a term I have not heard so far on this show. That's a new one. Write that down. That sounds like a t-shirt. Blinkers. A couple comments in there. Let's see. Joining from the gym, JP Burns in the gym watching us. Good Lord, son. You got nothing better to do than watch us from the gym. We appreciate you. All you guys. Clint Bartlett. I grew up wearing a helmet on a short bus eating crayons, and I started fishing just so I could tell the girls I was hung. Yep. I love this guy so far. I'm going to have to remember that one because I've been lying to my wife for about 30 years right now, so I'll make sure that. But Ron Swinford has a actually serious question. What is the biggest change Paul has seen in the last 10 years on Lake Lanier?
I would say in the last 5, it has to be Liv Scope. All the younger generation, I call young, in their 20s, they adapted real well to Liv Scope. Is it a game changer? I believe you could still compete without it if you had enough knowledge, but you'd have one arm tied behind your back. That's the biggest change I see. Took me a year and a half of little Paul and some of them just wearing you out and thinking I don't need it. But I also thought that about charts, spot lock, all that stuff we didn't have. We had black and white 2D. So it's just evolved over the years. And if my Liv Scope didn't come on in the morning of a tournament, I would still fish it just because I'm competitive.
Right.
I would not have a chance to win. So
you think it's made that much difference?
It does to me.
Does to you. And you've seen it over the years.
That's correct.
Now let me ask you this, because there's a huge debate going on. You got your Randy Blockett's of the world and all that arguing. Do you think on a professional level they should keep Liv Scope or do away with it?
Keep any tool. It's like a tool in the toolbox. If it helps you use it, they need to limit the number of transducers on a boat. If they cut the transducers down to a certain amount, now we're getting them, we're getting the Liv Scopes on each corner. It's just, my opinion, getting out of hand. If they want to do it, I'll put them on my boat, whatever it takes to compete. Yeah,
I've noticed a couple of guys in the electric only world, they got Liv Scope up front and up back, on back for the. So that's an interesting thing. Now, Rob, you jumped into pro fishing a couple of years ago. You probably don't know tournament fishing too much here recently, at least without Liv Scope. Now you're from Florida.
Yeah.
And so deep in Florida is 8 feet. But how has Liv Scope changed your fishing last couple of years?
Well, in Florida, didn't really use Liv Scope because I was fish grass, a minimum of like a 3 foot of water.
Right.
So obviously, it's really hard to use Liv Scope. And then when I moved up here, obviously I had to get it so I can learn how to fish deeper and find fish quicker. Everybody says like Liv Scope changes the game. It does, but you actually got to catch them. You can see hundreds of fish down there, but you got to actually catch them.
Yeah.
But if I didn't have Liv Scope today, I would be lost, to be honest.
Especially on these highland reservoirs and stuff 100%. Like that. Makes total sense. You got me another question right there? Let's pull it up. Philip Hutchinson. Does Paul think the sand dredging on Lanier helps the fishery?
Guess I don't know what he's talking about.
So I guess up on the river coming in to Chattahoochee, and this is what I think he's talking about.
There's a river at the Lake Lanier.
Yeah, there's one or two of them that goes in there.
It's above Brown's Bridge. I can't answer the question.
Okay, so you're a south of the lake guy.
Yep, definitely. I'm sorry, I can't answer that question.
Even during the spring when the largemouth.
The only time I fish above that bridge is night tournaments, which I dearly love, and I won't go down south.
Very interesting. So then I'm gonna ask you this question, because I know in the spring a lot of guys like to go up north chasing the largemouth. Now you stay on the south side.
As far south as I can get.
Plenty of largemouth down there, or just constantly?
Plenty of largemouth.
See, I don't think people realize that.
Plenty
of it. And in fact, in that electric only tournament a couple weekends ago, there was 2 as a 6 and a 7 weighted on that, and that was in the Bald Ridge Marina area. But everybody thinks springtime largemouth run up the rivers. But you're saying no. Don't need to be that way.
To my opinion, I'm not a river guy. I don't feel like I can win up there. Do the spots get as big? Probably. all them boys go south for a reason.
I've been trying to tell people that. So you think the best fish on Lanier is south of Browns Bridge, south end of the lake?
That's correct. Except in the summer. I fish strictly for largemouth, and I'm going to stay above the bridge only because your time's limited. Most of them's out of Laurel Park.
And that's at night.
It's at night.
It's at night. Okay.
If I'm above the bridge in a day tournament, they can just say, hey, Driskell's lost. He ain't catching it.
Okay. All right. We definitely do. And Tim and Rob, too, if y'all think of a question, definitely override me, jump in. We did have a question, though, right there from Guy B. And again, guys, listen, hey, we got a ton of comments tonight. If I miss your question, type it again. If we scroll past it and I miss it, type it again. I want to make sure I get everybody's questions because a lot of good knowledge. So I'm going to ask both of you guys. I'm going to ask you both this. I'm going to start off with you, and then we'll go to Paul. If you had to go out tomorrow without Live Scope, what would your pattern be? And let's say Lake Lanier, Lake Lanier. And I know you fish Notley a lot. You know, you got the blueback heron and all that. No Live Scope. What are you throwing?
I would go to marinas and throw a big glide bait or a mag draft.
Okay.
That's it.
Big bait.
Yeah, big bait, get big fish. Simple as that.
Fishing for 5 bites.
And I've figured it out during the summer when we had that BFL 2-dayer. When they went down to 3 fish limit instead of 5, that was my main focus to target the largemouth in marinas because they tend to be bigger and they're literally homeschooled. They don't really leave that area. They don't need to. There's so much bait. There's so much timber. There's areas for them to roam around and protect themselves. So that's what I would target 100%.
Even right now in 40-something degree water.
Oh yeah, dude.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure I'm clarifying.
Those big fish will stay shallow.
Okay. That's a good answer. What about you, Paul? Tomorrow, no Live Scope. You're on Lake Lanier. What are you throwing?
I'm going to get my map out and I'm going to find me not a main feeder creek, but I'm going to find me something that's got a small feeder in it after all this rain. That's just got a little bit of stain in it. And I'm going to sit and I'm going to 2D to 35 foot of water. And I'm going to take a 3.3 Kitech or a Z Swim zoom. And I'm going to put it on a 3/8 head and throw it all the way as far as I can throw it. Let it hit the bottom, swim it real slow back to the boat. And you're going to catch fish.
Okay. You guys, hey, write that down. Got a couple of them. One, first up, right above Chris Taylor. Going up on the comment section now. And guys, keep them coming. It makes it a lot easier for me. Jeremiah Giles, anytime you see an old man wearing a Zoom Bait Company apparel, that guy knows how to fish. You've got a good relationship with Zoom.
I fish with the best guy I could ever fish with. I fished with Eddie Wortham, manager at Zoom. Been with them a long time. They're great people, good bait company. And
yeah, I mean, who doesn't throw Zoom?
Name me a store you go in that don't have Zoom.
Hey, listen, I'm telling you, that was one of the biggest things here at the store. When I got in with Pittman Creek up there, I could finally buy Zoom.
That's correct.
That is it. And Zoom sells, but it don't just sell because of that. It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
They're coming out with a lot of new live scoping lures and stuff right as we speak that I think it's going to be another good line for them.
That's good. That's excellent. Hey, guys, you heard that right there. Here. One of the things, since you brought it up, and I'm going to get to these other questions, but since you said that, I've noticed that bait companies now are changing the way they make some baits that is geared directly towards the Live Scope. It's changing the way companies are producing product. So in your estimation, now that you've got it, that you use it, what makes a good Live Scope bait? What does it do that will separate it from, any other bait?
You're asking the wrong person. My floorboard will be full till I figure out one they want.
So it just changes so often.
I'm sure there's I like something with a straight tail. I don't want a paddle tail on it.
Right.
I want something I can get to the fish whichever way they're headed. And that's something I learned 3 weeks ago. My problem was I would see the fish floating out there over nothing, throw at them. Time it got to them, they was gone. So I quizzed some of them young kids.
Yeah.
What's the biggest help you can tell me? And they said, sit there, watch them for a second, see which way they're going, and lead them. Yeah. And I started doing that a couple of weeks ago, and my ratios went through the roof.
See, that's one thing. My cousin got it, and the one thing we learned quickly was everybody's got this idea that if you're on a point, that the fish are just sitting on it stationary. Spotted bass are moving. Especially they're moving, and to see the speed of how fast those fish are moving, I think that's one of the biggest benefits of Live Scope. It's, the old school guys, like, let's just chunk up on there like that fish is just sitting on that rock waiting for you to come by. Them jokers are moving constantly. So I'm glad you brought that up because that's what we learned from it.
And I guess we didn't know that until we started watching them on Liv Scope.
I didn't.
I didn't know that. I use it more for a search tool. You're just so much dead water. You caught them on Saturday. You go fish the tournament on Sunday. We used to pull up and say they're just not biting. Yeah. Now we realize they're not biting because they left.
Yeah, they're gone.
They're gone.
You're just throwing it empty water at that point.
5 minutes in a place that you caught them yesterday, we'd sit there 30 minutes just thinking, well, they just not biting.
Yeah.
And the whole time, we don't do that anymore.
Now, do you think that's because of blueback herring? Because, I know fishing with Ryan a lot. He can tell and you might be able to, Rob, that the bait, he'll look at a bait ball and he'll go, that's threadfin because of the way it's acting.
Yeah.
And that's blueback because the blueback go, shoo, they're gone. So if you
they're
notice
fast.
Oh, I noticed that big time.
You notice it, Tim?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're gone. They don't see
And the same with the spots. You pull in and you kind of see them and maybe the wind or boat position. By the time you kind of get yourself ready to fire, where the hell they go?
Yeah, they're gone. They're gone. So I think a lot of people argue, and Randy Blockett's one of them, it's spotlighting fish. Now, listen, back in my younger days, I might have been, we call it pre-Jesus, Danny. I might have been into some things that I shouldn't have been into. And I know some guys that would spotlight a deer. When you spotlight a deer, that deer freezes because you got the light in its eyes. It doesn't move. That's not true with Liv Scope. You might see the fish, but that fish is moving. You're not really spotlighting that fish. And that's what you just learned.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you beat a fish laying under a dock or just stationary. You beat him with that Liv Scope. He's going to move.
Yeah.
He's going to move.
Yeah. I think that was one of the big things.
I believe as soon as you see them following your bait, you better turn off of them once they're on it. Because I believe when they're sitting still, them floaters, I don't think so bad. But you get in some shallower water and see a group of them under a dock. Don't fish for them, shine that Liv Scope on them, and just hold it on them. They're going to move.
Yeah, they'll move. They move. Now, you mentioned leading a fish. Mm-hmm. So let's say you see one on your Liv Scope. When you think leading, how far are you throwing in front of them? What's your best guess?
Talking to Tim Hawkins, Tybo, some of them
yeah.
that I could believe what they tell me.
Are you saying Tim Hawkins won't lie to you?
No, he won't.
I'm just kidding.
I wouldn't ask him.
I like him.
You ask little Paul?
He'll lie. He'll sandbag you.
I'm wasting good air.
Yeah, he'll sandbag
Ask Randy Dover. I'm wasting good air.
Yeah, I got you.
Scott Barnes, Tim Hawkins, there's certain people I can call, when I need help.
Yeah.
And I believe a lot of these 20-year-old guys that are hammers,
mm-hmm.
Your Mills and them, I believe if you ask them and you're nice, I believe they'll help you.
Yeah.
I don't believe they're all about it for themselves because they say, hey, I can beat that old guy anyhow.
Right.
But they'll help you. And to answer your question, they say, whatever you're throwing a quarter ounce and he's 30 foot down, you just don't want it to fight, don't want it falling behind them, and you don't want it on, you don't want it to them. You want to keep it above them.
Okay.
And as soon as they see it, start taking it away from them. I'm sure there's different ways. That's what they've told me.
Yeah.
I believe them. When them guys keep winning. That's not by accident.
Oh, I know. But don't sell yourself short because every time
I'm going to compete.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Every time I look in the tournament things, your name's up there.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
I want to compete.
Listen,
I'm mad when I go home and I ain't in the pay line.
I understand. I get it.
And it ain't about the money. Because if you do this for the money, you're in the wrong business.
That's what I tell everybody.
Amen.
If you're trying to make your mortgage payment by fishing these Saturday tournaments, you got a problem. You probably don't need to be out there anyway. But it is the competitive edge because it's bragging rights. Tell me I'm wrong.
Oh no,
I know
100%.
Yeah,
I want to be in that pay line.
Yeah.
My goal in them skeeter things, it is not. You can tell me I went 5 trips to Clark Hill back and forth. That $1,700 that I did good. No, I didn't.
Right. Yeah.
But my goal is I want to be at the end of the year I want to get paid every time, and it ain't because of money. I want to be, hey, that's the guy we got to worry about. It's pride.
100%. That's why I've been trying to get you on the show. So I knew that. Now, Rob, you're in a little bit different boat because if you do well, this will be your source of income and everything. I mean, if you actually start making it in an NPFL, and then if you decide to go to another series, you will be paying your mortgage in that. So what's the difference in the competitive nature of him and you, or is it the same?
I mean, it depends. I mean, I'm fit and competing for a lot more money. So to me, it's a lot more on the table.
Yeah.
You're spending a lot more and everything. The weekend tournaments and stuff like that. Like if you expect to make a mortgage on that, then like what you said, like good luck.
Yeah.
But like,
God, I'd be broke.
You have, if you're fishing for $100,000, your goal is to get paid.
100%. Yeah. So, but let me ask you, so like he's talking about pride. There's still got to be a little bit of pride in what you do too, because I know there's a group of anglers up there that you're like, there's always one guy, and you ain't got to name a name, but I know when I fish certain tournaments, I'm like, I want to kick that guy's ass.
Certainly.
And I don't care if I finish 30th as long as he finishes 32nd.
Yeah.
Now, does that run true in the NPFL?
Yes and no. I mean, I know I'm.
Come on now, that you can tell.
No, there's guys out there like the Patrick Walters, the Trent Palmers. Like, dude, I got to go against this guy. But at the end of the day, if you accomplish and you beat them, it just makes the icing on the cake so much better.
It's sweeter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you. You don't have to name names, but are there guys on Lanier when you see that they're entering a tournament with you, you're like, I want to win, but I want to kick that guy's ass
every time.
And you ain't got to name names. I don't want you to name unless you want to.
Oh, Lil Paul's one of them.
Paul Marks Jr.
Yes, sir.
So like that's it. When I go in, I see Paul Marks Jr. is like, I don't care if I finish 20th as long as I beat Paul.
Him and Randy Dover.
Yeah, Randy's. I need to get Randy, but I heard he wouldn't talk to me either.
He would.
Would he?
Guy, yeah.
I need to reach out to him because
that dude has to wear a hammock.
Yeah.
To tote his sack around.
Woo. Well, there you go. Not only is he riding the short bus so he can tell people he's hung, somebody's toting around a hammock.
Oh, I've grabbed him.
You'll grab him.
I've grabbed him before. Ask him.
Him little
He goes strutting through the parking lot.
Yeah.
I don't want him to drag.
You'll help him lift them up.
I lifted him up.
Lifted them up. Okay, well, that's a problem I ain't never had. You can ask my wife. So
I got a couple of good questions.
Yeah, actually, bring me up. I got to drill this back in. We're talking about nuts.
Kevin's got a question, then maybe Scott right after him.
Okay, both of you can answer this. What is Paul's rod, reel, and line setup? And I'm going to guess, let's just say you, because I know you fish a lot of different things, but we were talking about live scoping, and you talk about throwing, I assume, a swim bait or a Kitech when you said 1/4 ounce. And you're leading them?
Correct.
Okay. So let's just take that bait right there. Got a 1/4 ounce swim bait. What's your rod and line setup and your reel?
I'm going to use 7-foot spinning rods. I may have 1 or 2 bait casters laid on my deck. Everything's going to be spinning rods. They're going to be 15-pound cigar smackdown and 8-pound on anything I'm throwing in open water. 10-pound if I'm throwing at blinkers and rock, or I'm throwing in a ditch with rock. Anything that's got rock. I don't care if it's 30 foot, 40 foot. If it's got rock, I'm throwing 10-pound.
What kind of? So you throw cigar fluoro on that?
Tatsu.
Tatsu.
Leaders.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. That's perfect. And what reel are you throwing? And rod.
2500s, Shimano's. I use the little green cheap G Loomis. I use the high dollar ones. It really doesn't matter to me.
Okay, I like that. What about you, Rob? So let's just say
There ain't none of them cheap.
No, they ain't none cheap no more. There's
but
none
I use
cheap.
little red label ones.
Yeah.
I'm lucky enough to have friends, Finn's twins, Greg Holly.
I need to get them on here.
You do. They help me with line and stuff.
But they're also musicians.
Big time.
Like I could get them up here to play like a concert for
You
us.
could. They can do
All
it.
right,
Them kids can do anything.
like
Fish North Georgia band coming
band.
soon.
So so I think you. But Greg's their dad, right?
Greg's
yes,
dad.
Greg. If you're watching this, let's set up with your boys up there because I actually watch your Facebook post where they're playing music, and I dig that stuff because I have no musical talent whatsoever. I got looks, but I didn't get talent. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, same thing. 1/4 ounce swim bait or 3/8 swim bait. What's your setup?
Exactly like him. 7 foot, 7'1", or 7'6", really fast action. I do about 10 pound braid,
Yeah.
and about 8-pound fluorocarbon, sometimes 6
Okay.
if they're really pressured.
If they're really pressured.
Yeah.
Now, when you get on like a rocky area with him, do you up your line size like he does? He went from 8 to 10 when he's throwing on rocks, right? At blinkers. If you're throwing at blinkers, Paul Driskell throws 10, right?
Correct.
I love that term, blinkers.
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, I got multiple setups. So I got, between 6-pound fluorocarbon, 8 to 10 to 12, depending on the clarity of the water. And again, it's all about the pressure. If they're pressurized, especially like you go down south at the south end of the lake, that's
Correct.
pressured a lot. I'm going to use lighter line.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the thing with the fluorocarbon, what I use, I extend my leader pretty far. Some people might tie it like a 2-foot leader. I go about 4 foot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm one of them weird ones that throw like a 15-foot leader.
You
Like,
are.
I got a lot of fluoro on the end of my braid. What about you? How long's your leader?
Shoot, I really fortunate enough I don't have to pay for it. So I'll reel 5 reels into my reel, just so I don't have to retie because I can't see good.
God,
Too long to retie.
let me tell you something. There's a lot of things that stop working when we get older, ain't there?
That's
You
great.
ain't kidding.
Oh, good Lord. All right, now let me ask you this. What knot do you tie from braid to fluoro?
Dude, you're asking educated.
Yeah, I am asking. You don't know the name of it?
I don't.
Describe it.
Yeah, maybe a uniknot or something. I don't know.
Uniknot.
I just put a loop in it, wrap it 6 times on one side, stick it back through, do the other the same way, and pull it.
Okay, that works. What do you tie?
I'm the most uneducational person when it comes to fishing knots, and I don't know exactly what he said.
Exactly what he
Uni
said.
knot, whatever.
Now,
I have
That's
a
an
specific
Alberto knot,
That's
if
what I
I'm not
thought that-
mistaken.
It
That's
sounded
it.
like the Alberto.
6, 7
That's
one
what-
Yeah,
way,
that
6,
sounds
7 the
about
other way
right.
back
So
through.
You go through
Alberto.
and you go 7 times around, and then you go 7 times back and pull it back through.
Yeah,
that's
you
an
count that
Alberto.
high. Sometimes I do 5, whatever it ends up.
Listen,
But
hey,
I started listening to them young kids.
yes.
I started on my if I'm scoping them in open water, start tying this what's that knot called? It's just a loop. It really the bait's hanging, it ain't tied tight.
Well, I have no idea.
Yeah,
So if you
it's,
guys in the comment know, you definitely tell
it's a
us.
circle of some kind, and it does not have it's not tight, it's not cinched down. So the bait's actually on a free just loop.
Just a loop.
So it's a
knot, I
loop with the
guess.
knot. Yeah, it
Correct.
keeps the blade.
Right. It lets
Yeah.
everything freely.
Yeah.
It's about like adding an old style clip to your front of your crankbait.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we didn't have to retie and it let it swim
Well,
freely.
shit.
Almost like a swivel in a sense.
That's correct.
Yeah.
It's just a loose little
Yeah,
knot.
I don't know what that. I
Yeah.
know what it is, but I don't know the
If
name.
you guys know the name of whatever it is they're talking about, let
Cole
me
Wood
know.
knows because he's the one had to call him on the phone and tie it the other day because I got confused.
Have you ever tried to tie an FG knot? Have you seen that?
it
It's like
only-
22 times this way. You got to wrap the line around your foot and hold it over your head.
Some of them saltwater knots are like that.
I know.
16 one way, 16 back.
Listen, I ain't got the patience for that.
I have tied
tried.
a FG knot and threw some really nice lures a good distance across
Right,
the lake.
exactly,
I'll just
like
let you
every-
know.
It just goes whoop and breaks.
You
And
hear
all that.
nothing but air.
Have I missed any questions? Because there's a ton.
Scott Barnes wanted to know about the
Scott's wanting to show
what
him a little
happened
love.
to
Said
the
he's
jerk
doing good.
baits.
Oh, all right. So you're doing great, Paul. Hey, look at. Oh, Scott, I like Scott. What do you think happened to the jerkbait bite on there? It seems to have declined over the years. Boating Atlanta days, a Stacy and a pointer was the deal, but not now.
I don't know. I bet if you
Good
took,
question.
and I hate to bring his name up, but I bet if you took Paul Marks Sr., which is probably one of the better of the jerkbait people, he's won a lot of money with it. If you take him out there with a jerkbait, I don't believe we fish it as much as we used to. We got so many options now. It used to be a jig, a worm, a spinner bait, or jerkbait.
Yeah,
That was it.
yeah.
And that's what you competed with. I caught some a week ago, on jerkbait in the back east creeks. You can still catch them on it. I don't think we fish it like we used to.
Do you throw a jerkbait a lot?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think about that comment?
It's like you mentioned earlier, like there's so many different options. There's so many different, things that we can fish. And I think that's kind of like the reason the jerkbait kind of like started.
Well, what do you think about the new Berkeley Credge?
I haven't even used them yet.
I've
No.
used it. I
Have
had
you?
it before
Give-
it come out and used it a while.
Wait a second. Hold on a second. What do you mean you had it before it come out?
I had it for 4 or 5 months.
Mm.
Must be
Okay.
nice.
Friend hooked me up.
Okay, so what do you think about it? Be honest.
You ever seen a shad back up to a fish?
Never. All right, then. There you go. So what did we talk about it last week, Tim? Didn't we say it looked like the flying lure? That crap on late night television?
Yeah, the old flying lure that flies away from you.
Will it catch fish? Yes.
Yeah.
It'll put them in their face longer, so you can jerk it, and it stays in their face longer. Will it catch fish? Yes.
But there's a but to it. I can see it in your eyes.
I'll take any other jerk bait and more than likely catch that same fish.
What do you think though about the depth, being able to get a little bit deeper?
That's the only advantage you got.
That's the advantage. You ain't thrown one yet?
You can let it sink.
No, I
you
haven't.
can let it sink down to them.
Yeah, because it's a sinking bait.
Yes.
It's a sinking bait.
No, I'm gonna get a couple of them before I go to Logan, but it's a new bait. It's gonna produce fish.
Yeah.
You know, everything, something different, something new. Those fish don't see, especially spots. You know,
Right.
they haven't gotten adapted to it.
Right.
You're gonna catch a little bit more fish.
Spots are just pissed off fish by nature, hit everything, I think, like that. But that makes sense.
Get two of them together. One of them's going to eat because they don't
Right.
want the other one to get it.
That's exactly right. They're jealous and they're
Mhm.
competitive, like you say. But that's interesting because you're the first person when we talk about that thing that says, have you ever seen a bait fish back up? And that's got me thinking now.
Mhm.
So that's
Very sensible.
that's sensible, and you got a lot of experience fishing. So that makes
Sometimes it gets me in trouble.
no, I like it. I like the honest answer. I think that's damn, now I'm thinking about it. I don't think I've ever seen a bait fish back up. Generally, you're pulling away to try to get them to
Trying
chase.
to run it away from them.
That's very interesting. I'm gonna be thinking about that tonight when I try to lay down and go to sleep. I'm like, well, Randy's. Paul said they don't back up. So did I miss any? Surf Dad says bait. Hey, listen, Surf Dad, why I got you on here? I need your contact information so I can send you your code for the option that you won. You and Clint Bartlett, I got to send those out. So if you could either put it down there where Tim can write your contact information, because I don't know how to get in touch with you, because I got to give you your code. And again, guys, here in about 20 minutes, we're going to have the question of the week for $50 off at optionusa.com. And I want you guys to definitely, and Kevin Thornton didn't do the question this week, so it's not going to be near as hard. Ron Swinford did. So if the answers are wrong, you can jump on Ron Swinford. Just pay shipping and handling. So the Cradge is not a new concept. The Japanese have had a backslide lures for years. Berkeley's last few releases are just JDM knockoffs. Okay, that's from Jeremiah Giles. So looking for questions here, right there. Scratch fishing. Pull that one up.
There'll be a tournament one on that curve. They will be.
They will be, but everybody go up and buy it.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
A lot of people's throwing it.
I've seen it because you like what you said. It's a new bait.
Oh yeah, it'll wipe off the shelves that hadn't already.
It has.
Yeah.
It has. And I've got some coming in here on my latest order to the store, but we've seen that with so many baits that the first few months, everybody's got to have it. And then all of a sudden it just disappears. Now, I'm not saying the Cradge will, but what's that Z-Man topwater bait that's got the blade on the back of it? You know what I'm talking about?
No,
The
I'm not sure.
hell, I got them over there on the wall. When it first came out, everybody had to have it. And then nobody comes in and looks for it anymore. It's like, nah, whatever. So everybody's got to get it. Pull that one up. If Paul could only fish one technique, oh, this is good. And this is deep right
Yeah,
here.
that's a good question.
If you could only fish one technique and one bait for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Just because I enjoy it. I don't know. I can catch fish year round on it. It'd be a bent worm.
Oh, what?
They got a name for it.
You call it what
My
you want.
friends, they know what I'm talking about. It is a Cinco. You hook in the middle.
Wacky.
Oh, okay.
Hey, I love
I
it.
got
style.
another name too.
You call it a bent worm?
Not a Ned Rig. It's called
I call it
Nico.
Nico, where they
Nico
put a little
rig.
weight.
Yeah, put a little weight in it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
I hook it a little bit more towards the head than the middle, so it'll fall faster.
Yeah.
I literally, this time of year, I'm not scared to throw it at a 50-foot fish on the bottom.
Me neither. That's my favorite
And
way to fish.
I love to fish it. Probably fish that year round.
I do too. If I'm
I
in a
don't
tournament,
use
I
no
got
worms. I don't drop shot. I don't use worms. I used to be a big time worm fisherman, and I just come to the realization that a Cinco, I personally, just use a fluke stick.
Yeah.
I'm going to either leave the tail on it or I'm going to knock the tail off of it, and I'm going to catch bigger fish.
You know what, Tim? I feel absolutely validated now by saying I throw a wacky worm year round.
Why is that?
If Paul Driskell throws it year round, then I feel pretty good that I throw it year round. Because some people look at me when I say, "Do you throw it weightless?"
No.
You like the weight, so you like. I like throwing a weightless one. I'll chunk it over a 40-foot brush pile and just sit. I can't. I don't have the patience.
No,
to
I
do
like
jerk
watching
bait.
it. I like watching it go down the side of a brush pile.
Yeah,
Spiral.
And watch them go or see a little pimple on the bottom in 40 foot. Know it's cold. It's a fish. Throw it to see if he's going to rise up when he gets 5 foot from the bottom. He rises up. He's a caught ass.
I love this guy. Blisters and
I'm
pimples.
telling you.
So blinkers and pimples. All right. So what about you? You only get one for the rest of your life. And then Tim, I want you to answer that question too. So Rob, one bait for the rest of your life.
Probably a fluke, because you can fish it all year long. You fish it anywhere in the United States. It's probably a fluke. I love a jackhammer, a chatterbait. That's just me, but it would be a fluke.
That's right. Look at all them comments. Just made Danny's night by saying, well, listen, I ain't lying to you. That is absolutely my favorite. And I think you can catch fish year round, largemouth or spots on a wacky rig. Tim, put that camera on your beautiful
If
mug.
I only get one bait, right? Just one.
Yep.
A spinner bait. Call me crazy, but
That's a harnessed rig.
it is. I grew up fishing Wiseau where it's only 3 feet deep, so we always fish spinner baits.
Spinner bait. You throw spinner bait a lot?
0, except at night.
Nighttime, throwing
tournaments.
that night spinner bait.
Night tournament's the only one I own.
That's the only time you throw a spinner
The only
bait?
time I throw it's harness bait. About like throwing an Alabama rig.
You don't throw them either,
You're
huh?
just hoping to snag something.
Okay. I got you.
That's a good answer.
I got you. So let's see. Trent Gober, pull that one up.
Whoa.
Where you get there? Pull old Trent up right
Can
there.
you win fishing deep?
On
anymore?
Lanier, like in the past. Hell, I thought everybody was fishing deep on Lanier.
He's
right
talking
now.
about fishing row beds, rock ledges out there in 40 to 60 foot.
Yeah.
You can.
Okay.
Turn your live scope off, or because you're not going to see them when you're sitting on top looking out in the hole.
right.
They're laying tight. You can. That tournament me and Greg won right before Christmas. We had 22 pounds. Our first stop was just to let them blinker fish warm up a little
God,
bit.
I love that. Yeah.
So we went out and sat on one of Trent's places. He don't fish here no more, so I took it over.
Yeah.
Went and sat on it. We called was throwing a Cinco on a 3/16. A spinning rod. We caught 2 that was 4.5 pounders.
Yeah.
Had a good solid limit to start, and I believe you could have sat there and finished off a 21, 22 pound bag.
Okay.
It's a lot harder than it used to be.
But it can be done.
Hole fishing to me is a thing of the past.
So do you consider yourself a running gunner like somebody? I get all these young guys like Emil, and even Brock Turner's talked about. They'll go, they'll look, they'll scan, they'll see a brush pile. If there's nothing there, they just leave, or they might make 2-3 casts and they're gone.
I am a running gun guy. Don't want to throw many times over a place. I got no patience. This tournament we just had at Clark Keel.
Yeah.
I literally fished 2 small creeks all day back and forth because I knew there was a winning sack in them 2, and I dissected them 2 places so good that I felt like if I kept on in there, eventually I was going to get a good check out of there. So usually I am. Very rarely will I sit on a hole and just fish.
Okay. So that's the thing of the past to you.
It is for me.
Okay. What about you?
I wanted to ask him a question.
Yeah. Ask. Absolutely. I love it.
It's about forward facing sonar. So since you've gotten adapted to it, do you enjoy it, or do you like miss the old school way?
That's a good question.
I want to win. So I didn't have no choice.
Yeah.
I wish they never would have come out with it. I wish they never would have come out with side scan. I go out there and work my butt off. Greg, his boys, my younger friends, Cole Wood, they all go out there and help me cut brush. I'm not able to drag that stuff no more.
Right.
And we don't cut brush, we cut trees. Some people's got it figured out. It makes it a lot easier. We put that stuff out, and used to you could ride forever and have that hole to yourself. somebody had to get awful lucky to find it. Now we put it out tonight. Somebody's found it by the next day.
Yeah, that is the one thing.
So I wished it would have never come out. But in saying that, if you don't adapt with the technology that we are handed, the tools, you're going to fall to the wayside.
Yeah, you're never going to succeed.
No.
Simple as that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. But it is interesting, you saying that. Yeah, there was a day gone by when all you brush builders could put something out. The only person that knew it was there was you. And you had that to yourself. And now, just like you said, put it out, go 3 days later, somebody's sitting on it.
That's correct.
You can't
100%.
hide nothing anymore.
You can have now a place that you fished for 20 years in timber. I call them hard spots. That is in the timber. You got just those soft bottom, but there is that one hard spot. And it's guaranteed to drop down and catch fish on most of the time.
Because of the hardness.
Because that's where the fish want to get when it gets cold.
I got
For
you.
whatever reason, I don't know. Now you can roll in there and there'll be 3 acres of that timber there. And that bull will be spot locked on that because that forward facing Garmin will show that hard spot. It'll glow.
Okay. I got that. Hey, and you guys in the background, if you guys got questions too, feel free to throw them out here. We'll definitely ask them. That's interesting though. But I guess the question is though, which do you enjoy? Do you enjoy the days of the past or now?
I enjoy it now.
Do you really? Okay.
I really do. It's a challenge to me. Like I said, little Paul, he had that stuff a year and a half before a lot of people had it. It just because I didn't want to change. I thought I don't need it.
Yeah.
And one day I decided, I'm gonna get it. Now I've got the big wire. I've got the 16-volt battery. I've got everything I think I need to make it the best it can be. If we're going to use it, I'm going to use it to fullest. I don't have all, people joke that I take Cialis in the morning to get my blood flowing to compete with them kids.
Yeah.
And that's true. But I'm going to use every tool I got, everything I can to compete.
Is that Cialis good?
Yeah.
Is that some good stuff?
Yeah.
It actually does work. I've tried it many times. I'm just
Hey,
two at a time.
Listen, though, you're young. There comes a time in a man's life where any help he can get.
It hasn't got to that point yet, but when it does, Cialis will be on my mind.
But listen, if you
Or
have an
Viagra.
erection lasting longer than 4 hours, seek medical attention right there. I was like,
Or the
who in
Guinness
the
Book of
world
World
wants
Records.
that? Good Lord.
39 years I've had this, my wife, and got to keep them happy, and they got to be happy when you take off in the mornings
Yeah.
and be gone for a couple of days.
Uh-huh.
You can't go, all joking aside, you can't be competitive. You can't have fun if you don't have a support staff at home
100%.
that it's all for you, want you to do good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got it made.
Got to keep mama happy.
Dude, I've got it made.
Trust me. You got to keep mama. Didn't you just get married?
Yes, I did.
You did.
At Vegas.
At Vegas. Went out to Vegas. Did you do an Elvis wedding?
Yes, we did.
You did an Elvis.
Yeah.
I was
Heck
just
yeah.
kidding. You actually did an Elvis
No,
wedding?
we did not.
Oh, oh my God.
Dude, I was going to see pictures after the show.
Yeah, no, I know he got married. You didn't do the Elvis thing, though?
No, we didn't. We had it planned. We did the Vegas thing because we didn't really want a big wedding and spend all the money because I have to fish this year.
Yeah,
So
you
I'm
got to
like,
pay for some entry fees.
Let's take it on the cheaper side. Let's go to Vegas. And have
Where's
fun.
your first tournament at?
Logan Martin?
Logan Martin. That's next week.
I leave Saturday.
You leave
I start
Saturday.
practice Sunday.
You ever fish Logan Martin?
I have one time.
You have? One time. So I'm going to ask him I want to ask you what you thought of Logan Martin first.
Okay.
What'd you think of it when you fished it?
Bunch of little bitty spotted bass, all I could catch out of it. So I don't got nothing good to say
Nothing
about
good
it.
to say about Logan Martin.
Yeah.
All right. How about you? Have you fished it at all?
I pre-practiced already. I've done my homework.
So is it like what he said?
I'm not going to answer that.
Oh, you can't, can you?
No, it's
I
not
forgot.
that.
No, okay.
Listen,
Yeah, I got to make sure there's rules with you guys.
when I pre-practiced,
yeah.
I'm just going to say this out because I know a lot of guys from the league are watching.
Sorry, guys.
I had a blast.
Okay, good.
And that's all I'm going
I've
to
only
say.
been there one day.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's all
I'm
I'm
not
going to
the
say.
guy that
So-
asked.
I always forget with you tournament guys that there are rules.
Well, it's not that.
I know, but
I have
you don't want to jinx
just-
yourself either.
I remember my first year, I was all like telling people everything, and now I'm just going to keep my lip shut.
Yeah.
And that's the best. After the tournament, I'll spill all the beans what I have planned.
You can tell me after the show.
I will. I'll tell you.
You can tell me after the show like that.
Secret juice.
Have I missed any questions? You got to. And again, guys, if you ask a question and I'm not on it, make sure you hit it again. Kevin Thornton, does Paul fish Alat Tuna?
Never fished it since. I ain't fished it in 40 years.
That lake is junk.
40 years.
40 years. I lived on it for about a year.
Yeah.
Fished it some, but no.
It's got the bluebacks in it now, though. You think that? I mean, okay. Let me ask you this, because you don't have to act like you're Methuselah. You have fished Lanier long enough that you know Lanier before blueback herring,
Correct,
and you know Lanier after blueback herring. So, how did you adjust to the bluebacks once they took hold on Lake Lanier?
I don't know that I ever adjusted to them. It seemed like once the bluebacks got in there, it was a lot easier to throw something and keep it flying through the water on top. You work your topwater baits a lot faster. Flukes, whatever, they wanted them flying.
Yeah. They like it moving.
They like it moving.
Yeah.
Because
bluebacks are fast. They move. They're constantly moving. That's what's interesting, because you say that, and then you came from Florida. Ain't no blueback herring down in Okeechobee. So You had to learn that game too.
Yeah.
So that was a big adjustment for you.
Yeah, it was all a big adjustment because, we only have a certain amount of bait fish at the lake, Okeechobee. And then when you come here, there's just so many different varieties.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it's kind of hard to pencil point. Like you were explaining, now I can tell what a heron is, what a gizzard shad is, what an actual shad is. I can tell the difference now.
On your live scope.
On the live scope. Yeah.
Yeah. How long did it take you to figure that out?
I still hadn't figured it out. I just know it's bait and fish eat bait.
Fish, you know what you like.
No, I can tell a thread fin and a herring.
How do you tell?
Just from the size and the way they move around.
The way they move.
Yeah.
It's really the way they move too.
Yeah.
Like you can tell really quick.
Yeah, the bluebacks are like spots. They're not sitting still.
No,
That's
they're moving all over the place.
Wide open.
They are wide open. All right, guys, listen. Hey, in about 5 minutes, we're going to do the question of the night. So,
Phil's got a question that's came up, I think, several times.
Pop it up. What do y'all think about the Corps of Engineers experimenting with no tournaments between Memorial Day and Labor Day, and how that would affect Lanier if it were implemented? There is a lake, I believe it's in another state. Randy Blockett made a video on that, where I think you can have tournaments, but I think you cannot have them between certain times of the day, between Memorial Day and Labor Day. So let's just take Lanier, especially summertime. A lot of guys go down to 3 fish limits, or they go to night tournaments, whatever. What would you think about if the Corps came out tomorrow and said, you know what, Lake Lanier, no tournament fishing between Memorial Day and Labor Day?
Me personally?
Yeah, absolutely. Give me your honest opinion.
I'd go into DTs.
Yeah, you got to have that. You got to have.
I want something, every couple of weeks. We have way too many night tournaments. Anybody got a set of scales? Have them. I wish they was just one a week.
One big one.
Get more people. But and it's fine. But I like to fish, so I don't want them to tell me. I don't like the government to tell me nothing.
Amen. I believe that. Lord knows they try enough. What about you? Well, how would that affect? Well, of course, how many tournaments do you guys have on the NPFL between?
6.
Okay, so
events.
How many of them are in the summer? You kind of end right about what?
There's actually 2 in the summer. There's going to be Lake Pickwick in July, which is in Tennessee, and then Saginaw Bay, Michigan, in August. So there's 2 events that are in summer.
Okay, all right. Well, how would you feel about that if they said, "Hey, you can't fish tournaments between Memorial Day and Labor Day"?
It is what it is.
Yeah, so you would just accept it.
You wouldn't like it, but I wouldn't like it, but I have to accept it. Yeah. I mean, if it's going to help the fishery and for the future, I mean, I'm still for that. But I mean, if it's not going to really do anything, then let's just keep grinding.
I want to say that one of the reasons was safety, because there's so many pleasure boaters.
But next thing you know, they'll be telling you can't run but 30 mile an hour. It's always something. Once they start, they never quit.
Very true.
That's why all your guys that love guns and all that don't
That's
like.
correct.
We're not having a background check, because you go to that, then they go to this, and then they go to that. I get it 100%. Clayton Woods wants me to ask you about your FLW days. Tell me a little bit about fishing FLW.
FLW was coming to Lanier. I had the opportunity, Yamaha, to help me out with my entry fees. I was all for it. I thought, this will be good. I can do it. And I finished 13th at the first one at Lanier. And then I found out I wasn't, let's say, I'm not saying I wasn't good enough. I wasn't familiar. We had 5 days of practice. I'd go to these lakes. I'd never seen them before. Never been out of the state of Georgia pretty much fishing. And it'd take me 4 or 5 days to figure out how to catch a fish, where they lived. These other guys would go knowing how to catch them, knowing what to do. They had a network. I was pretty much by myself. It was a 200 boat field. I was a 60 to an 80th place guy. That's where I always finished. I was fortunate enough my rookie year to make the Forest Wood Cup. Got to do something a lot of people never get to do.
Right.
I got to go to the big banquet, take my wife, go in a big coliseum, get embarrassed with my 2 fish. But I wouldn't take nothing for it today.
Yeah.
Economy fell apart. I fell out of a deer stand, messed myself up. So I only got to do it the 1 year.
But still,
it was something that a lot of people never get to experience. So I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you reached the pinnacle.
I did.
Of what a lot of guys out here on Saturdays, they're out here, they're fishing these tournaments and they're having fun, but they always dream, like, they think that professional angling, that way of life.
I'd hate to do it now.
Yeah. It's different. It's probably different
it's
now.
tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
So
These
much
guys
competition.
are so good. You think you're good and you get in there and watch and you just amazed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a guy that thinks, he comes out of high school. I can play softball. I was a great high school baseball. I could have gone pro. Like, no, you couldn't.
Yeah.
No, you couldn't. Now, you, though, Rob, jumping in the MPFL, you're experiencing, this is going to be your second year. You took a year off. You're going to be in your second year. What opened your eyes about tournament fishing that maybe you didn't realize going into it? Because you probably had those dreams of, grandeur and this is going to be great. I'm going to be a pro angler. And then all of a sudden somebody just popped you right across the forehead. Something had to wake you up to, like, this might be a little tougher than I thought.
Well, it was my first year. I got my butt kicked.
Yeah.
I got my ass kicked, period.
Yeah.
All year long. I only got 1 check. I had multiple chances to get a check, but I kicked myself in the ass.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's about you and against the fish. It's not against the other people. And I was so worried about what other people were doing and not worrying about myself. And then obviously taking this year off really just made me realize what I was missing and stuff like that. And not to worry about what other people are doing, just worry about what yourself is in front of you. And hopefully this year will be a good year.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, since we're going to do the question of the week. Before I do that, you've been there, you did that, you got the t-shirt. What advice would you give to him about trying to have a professional career in fishing? If you could give him one piece of advice right now, or anybody watching, what would it be?
Dude, I ain't got but 5 friends. Don't take no advice from me.
Oh, come on now.
No. You got to believe in yourself. You can't listen to doc talk. You can't, you're struggling. It's very easy to listen to these guys at night, standing around the dock in the mornings. They're catching them. You cannot catch other people's fish. You just can't. And you believe in yourself and not worry. If you ain't got to worry about things at home, money, you'll do so much better.
Okay, so there you go.
Biggest thing is just believe in yourself and
have confidence.
Think, hey, I'm as good as them guys. I just got to have just a little bit of luck, and luck goes a long ways in this sport.
It does.
A long ways.
Yeah, so that is absolutely, you take that advice right there. So
definitely.
have that self-confidence. All right, real quick. So right now we're about halfway through the show. I'm going to get the rest of you guys' comments, but we're going to do the Option USA question of the week. Again, this is for $50 off at optionusa.com for all the new fluoro. Right now, you can only get it on their website, but very soon it's going to be in retail stores. They're working with their distributor right now to get all the details sorted out, and very soon we will have it here at the shop as well. So great quality fluorocarbon. So again, let me go ahead and preface this by saying we had a viewer. You guys know Ron Swinford in the comments section. Always a great contributor. This is his question. So if the answers are wrong, don't blame me. You got to blame Ron. So, all right. There are 3 correct answers to this, okay? It's not a 3-part question, but listen to the question because I don't want to see it in the comments where you just put one of the 3 answers needed for this. So here we go. We'll watch the comment sections and we'll award it. Here's the question of the week. What angler finished in the first how did I write the hell? I wrote that down wrong. So, okay. I guess it's going to be top 5. Let me rephrase this. What angler finished in the top 5 in the first 3 Bassmaster Classics? What angler finished in the top 5 in the first 3 Bassmaster Classics? Okay. And tell me what place he finished. That's just for me. So 3 years, he had 3 different finishes, all top 5 in the first 3 Bassmaster Classics. So, yeah, Ron, you know the answer. And I hope I didn't just absolutely butcher your question of the week. Can you please go into detail about blinker fish? So we will keep that. No, it was not Roland Martin. It was not Roland Martin. Absolutely not. But it is a very popular name. Look, guys just throw out shit. They're just guessing the name.
They're just taking pot shots.
Like, seriously, let me just throw out Bill. No, it was not Bill. Fat Cat Newton. Fat Cat's ass probably wasn't even born.
Boy, they're digging deep.
Look, Cass. Oh, hey, you know why they're trying to? No, it was not George Cochran, and it was not KVD. KVD did not fish even in those. I don't think. No, Jim Houston's old enough. You guys got to Google. You got to do a little Google. Yeah. The first 3 Bassmaster Class. Didn't Bill Dance fish in them?
There's the answer.
Okay, so all right, so there you go. We have a winner. We have a winner. Austin Toe because okay, so listen, I'm gonna let you make the decision right here. So JP Verne has got Rocco Clun and Austin Teo had Rick Clun. You are the judge. Should I give it to the guy that said Rocco Clun since he had the no, that ain't the right answer.
That ain't the right answer.
That's the right answer. The other answer was up there.
Oh, who had it?
There's somebody got the answer, but now
where is it?
Go back.
Hang on,
down.
do we have 2 parts? Is it the answer and we want the 3
hell,
tournaments? Or are we just gonna go with the name?
At this point, we're just going with the name. Who got
Hang
it?
on a second.
Go back down. Keep going down.
I can promise you it wasn't Rick
there.
Clun. Landrum 45.
Yeah.
Landrum
Can't
45.
find it.
All right. So yeah, I probably cheated because I did say I want 3. Actually, so we'll take that because hell, if not, we'll be here all night. Tom Mann Jr. was a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 5th place in the first 3 Bassmaster Classics. Yeah, I said that right.
Great.
I said that right. Okay. So
Wasn't Tom Mann a legend on this lake?
He was.
Yes. Because
Oh,
now he
absolutely.
guides at Okeechobee.
That's correct.
And when I used to guide over there, I used to talk to him all the time. And I never knew. I knew who he was, but
at one time you
Yeah.
had to beat Tom Mann, Paul Mark Sr. When they showed up, that's who you had to beat.
yeah.
I went to high school with Paul Mark's mama.
Did you?
Yeah. Shannon, right?
I have no
I
idea.
think her name's Shannon. So that's I think I went to high school with her. I think she was a year behind me. Just shows my age right there. Who was the winner again? What was that kid's name?
Landrum.
Landrum 45. All right, so Landrum 45. Listen, you farmer Clint Bartlett, and Surf Dad, I gotta send you guys the code. So if you will reach out to me on Facebook, message me directly, Danny Pruitt, I will send you the code. And you other guys, hey, I'll send you the codes as well. I know I've been telling you I was going to do it. I have them. I will send it. And then next week we'll have another question of the week. But you guys that were saying Jordan Lee, like was Jordan Lee even born?
He wasn't even thought of.
Like Jordan Lee wasn't even born.
Right. It's like, who?
Yeah, Jordan Lee wasn't even born about that time. So anyway, all right, let's go on down to Austin Toe's question, unless I missed. Oh, no, Jacob Adams. I'm sorry. Go on up. I want to make sure I don't miss right there, Jacob Adams. If Paul was looking for one big bite, what would his game plan be? One
Right
big
now,
bite.
this time of the year,
Yeah, let's go this time of the year.
go to the very back of a creek and throw a chatterbait.
On Lake Lanier,
Yes,
a chatterbait
right now.
Now you're speaking my language.
with no grass or
I
nothing.
want no. I want some stained water, fresh stained water, not cold stained water, but you get a warm rain like this, and you get stain, not mud, not Oconee mud, Sinclair mud, but just stained. You can throw a chatterbait, and I caught 2 7s doing it a few years ago in the morning doing it.
Really? Because I would not have expected of all the answers you had, it would be a chatterbait.
I won't throw a spinnerbait.
That was my next question, because you said I ain't throwing no spinnerbait.
No.
Now, why would you throw a chatterbait over a spinnerbait?
The same way I throw a fish head in them same places.
It just works.
It just works.
How'd you figure it out?
Because I used to, back in the old days, you could go in the back of these ditches and take a 1/4 ounce jig and put some kind of twin tail on it and just throw it back. Now you use a fish head or a Kitech or something like that. You throw it back there in 10 foot and just reel it real slow where it was off the bottom and you just catch them.
Really?
And then they come out with this thing called a chatterbait. And even to this day, I won't use the new ones. I just the old original.
You like the old original chatterbaits. Yeah. You don't get into that jackhammer and none of that crap?
No, and I don't use it except for wintertime.
Do you throw a trailer on it?
I do.
What kind of trailer is on your chatterbait?
The original Zoom Flute in white.
All right, then. There you go. That's some knowledge right there, guys. Now, did you expect him to say chatterbait?
No chance. I thought you were going to say spinnerbait.
Well, like he had Rob's undivided attention all of a sudden.
He did. Rob perked up. Like, all of a sudden, you're speaking my language right now.
Well, like you mentioned, like you prefer to throw that over a spinnerbait. Like the jackhammer, the chatterbait is like the forward-facing sonar. You have to adapt to it. The spinnerbait, to me, it's not done. There's certain areas in the United States that you can throw a spinnerbait. It might be more utilized than a chatterbait. But the jackhammer, the majority of people in the United States throw a jackhammer, and the jackhammer is the #1 bait in the United States that you can get a check on.
It's better than the original.
Yeah.
I guess I only throw it January, February, beginning of March. I'm not going to throw it but the first 30, 45 minutes in the mornings in these places, so I don't get to experiment and old people get set in their ways. That's why I practice. Every tournament I practice. Coldwood, he's 25, 26. He goes with me because he'll open my eyes. He'll slap me in the back of the head and say, dude, try something new. Let's do it this way.
But you know it works.
It works, but I learn a lot from these kids.
Oh no, there's no doubt, because they're definitely technology savvy and everything. But
you get somebody my age, 90% of them, you got your Mark Hardens, you got a bunch of them that still can compete. Yeah. But most of them still got their jig, still got their worm, still got that. They won't change. You're not going to compete anymore.
Yeah, but let me ask you. Let me ask you this: what's your #1 confidence bait right now? If you had one bait you had to throw tomorrow on Lanier, what would it be? Would you go with that, Nico?
To catch numbers.
Catch numbers, Nico. But like that viewer said, if you're going after one, like if let's say you got 4 in the boat or 5 in the boat, you really need that kicker. And
I'm gonna pick a chatterbait up or a 1/4 ounce fish head with a white fluke on them, and I'm gonna go find me a feeder creek with some stained water, and I'm gonna fish 10 foot or less.
By gosh, right there, some knowledge right there, boys. You guys, I got a tournament on Baldridge in a couple, no, not this Saturday, but in the following Saturday. Same day Scott's got his coming out. Again, hey, all you big boaters, if you come into Baldridge, there's going to be an electric boat sitting on every point by the time you guys get there. I'm just letting you know.
Do not run over them.
Do not run over me. Okay? Do not run over me. But I've caught on something you said right then. First 45 minutes of the day or the first hour. So you do that early.
I do it early.
So after that, let's say midday tournament, you got 18 pounds, you know it's going to take 20. You got to get a kicker. What are you throwing?
1/8 ounce skip gap with a fluke stick on it.
With a fluke stick. And
I'm going to throw it 10 foot or less on rock on Main Lake.
During this time of the year?
Right now.
Okay.
I just went yesterday and Cole caught 2 4.5s, and I call them blinkers. They was You dial your stuff in, you can actually see them and throw up there, and they're going to eat it.
Did you notice, since you fished yesterday with this warming trend and all this rain coming in, it was cold the last couple of weeks.
Correct.
Frigid cold. I mean,
Yeah.
there was ice on some lakes.
Yeah.
With this warming trend coming, you think these fish are getting in the early pre-spawn mode?
I know on the Florida lakes and everything, they claim that, you get a cold snap like that and then a warming thing, it just sets the fish into motion.
100%.
These fish will start staging back up in these creeks. They may hold up in 20 foot, 15 foot, but they're getting in them areas that next month, they're going to be back there.
Yeah.
Now, once they get too far gone, paired up, I can't catch them. Once I start seeing them under the docks, in the very backs, and they're paired up, or 3 or 4 minutes just laying there, I'm sure there's a way to catch them fish. I can't, so I don't mess with them.
Interesting.
I try to catch them fresh ones coming in that's going to be on the next wave.
Okay, I get it. Fluke stick. Any particular color, maybe not your juice, but if a guy was going to go out tomorrow and throw a fluke stick, or even a fluke like you were talking about on the fish head, any colors or certain shades better than others?
A fluke stick is just a Cinco.
Right.
I like it. It's a little bit heavier than a Cinco.
Yeah.
So I use it for Nico's a proper word, and I use it for my jig heads.
Okay.
Some days with tails, some days without. If it's around a full moon, I'll leave the tails on them. I think it looks more like something to crawfish, and I'll paint the tail chartreuse or put a little red on it or any orange.
Gotcha.
Another way you can catch fish right now at Lanier and really have and be competitive. You can catch a 20, 22 pound bag is get out there in that timber, and take a 3.3 Kitech or whatever you want to use, put it on a 3/8 gulpy head, 10 pound line, drop it right down to you see them, you 2D, you ain't got to have, that's why we did it before we had it. You have to dissect, is that fish or is it really fish in the timber? But you can drop that thing to the bottom and I call it old man shake. You don't want to jiggle it like you're live scoping something. You just want to you're just rattling the bait.
Just enough to get a little vibration.
Just rattling it, right? And right, I call it mudding it. I want it right on the bottom. I don't want it loose line on the bottom, but I want it. You're not going to see it on live scope. You're not going to see the fish on live scope down there.
But in the timber,
we're down on the bottom.
You're dropping it through the timber down to the bottom. So you're not trying to fish the top of it. You're going into the timber.
If I want to do it, I tell you, I just did that article for GON coming out in this month, February.
Mm-hmm.
And it absolutely, guys, you're wanting to catch fish. You want to know how to do it. Look at that. I burnt 4 good, probably other guys' holes too, but I absolutely took him to 4 juice holes in the timber with that bait and caught fish. And you can do it. You don't have to have all the fancy stuff. You can catch them fish. And once you find a place that's got one, you'll catch 2, 3, 4 of them, and they're liable to be 3 to 5 pounders.
Do you find bigger fish in the timber? Do you find that like when you catch fish out of the timber, they're generally bigger?
Correct. You still can catch some little ones, but most of what you catch now is going to be over 3 pounds.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. There's some good juice right there. I know I missed a bunch of questions, so you probably have to back it up. I did see somebody ask what color chatterbait you like to use.
It's just a pearl and a little bit of greenback, kind of a herring color. Mm-hmm. And then I'll just, like I say, I'll bite just a little bit off of a fluke stick. Not a fluke stick, the original fluke pearl, and throw it on. No chartreuse, nothing fancy. The only thing I do different is I'll tape one side of my blade, and it don't really matter which one, in gold tape. I think it shows up a little better in the stained water, because I'm not going to throw a chatterbait if it's not rained and it's green and there's clear water. I'm just not going to do it.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
This past summer when I was up here in Lanier, I was throwing the jackhammer, and I know you don't fish past Brown's Bridge or anything, but I fished way past there, up in those back creeks and some shallow water, and I was whacking them with the jackhammer during the summertime, and some good sized ones.
Was you throwing more of a shad color though?
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think about guys throwing like a fire crawl colored right now? Because if guys are throwing a rock crawler right now, a lot of guys are using the reds, the oranges.
That's fixing to be the color.
It is.
Yeah.
It's red February.
So, so if you're going out the next month and you're throwing, your chatterbait, do you stay at that pearl and that white color, or do you change up to the reddish colors?
I do not, because I'm not going to go throw a chatterbait. If I'm going to Oconee or somewhere, I'm going to change up a color. Here at Lanier, it's not a bait that I'm going to go throw all day long.
Right.
So I just keep it simple. The more simple I keep it, seems like the better I do.
That makes sense. Go back down. I missed some of the questions.
The Austin tow question.
Okay,
I think we clarified that with talking about the dirty water and whatever.
Yeah, let's just do it again real quick. Paul, how would you fish wintertime? Was it stained? Yeah, muddy water like we're dealing with now with all the rain. So I know, like, just take next week. I'm going to be in Baldridge, but if you go behind the marina and up towards 400, if it had rained, like if I were fishing that tournament this Saturday, it would be muddy. Let's just say you got muddy water right now. That's all you got. How would you approach muddy water?
I'm hauling ass.
Away from it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
would too.
I'm not fishing fresh mud.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, I got you.
Clear water.
Is it a little stained? I don't care. That's what I want.
You want some stain. You
I
just don't want to be able to walk across
red,
it.
orange, wintertime cold mud, fresh. I don't want it.
Okay, that makes sense.
They don't want it looking like Georgia red clay.
No.
Yeah, but it does happen.
It does.
Let's see. Right below that, I saw another question. Are more tournaments won on Lanier on a moving bait or a dragging bait? And let's talk about right now, not in the past, but right now. Moving baits or dragging baits? And I assume he's talking about like your shaky heads, your jigs.
I may be wrong, because these boys ain't going to tell me everything they do, but the guys that, you take a meal and Prince, they're going to be in that pay line, and they're going to be high.
100%.
I see a meal doing these videos, dragging jigs around and stuff. I would be hard pressed to believe that they're not winning these tournaments and consistently without that. I'm just going to shoot you what I think. I think they're live scoping, period, bar none. Are they going to pick a crankbait up in the mornings and throw it around the bridge area on some rock? Probably.
Right.
About like I'm going to run to the back of a creek with something in the mornings.
Yeah. They got their patterns.
But
that's
after
what they're
that, I see them. And they're usually over some patch of timber or going into a feeder creek of some kind.
Yeah, so that's the biggest question that I get from guys that come in. They talk about, Scott Barnes tournaments, or if the BFL comes in, if you guys came in NPFL or whatever, they're like, there are guys that catch them consistently. These guys can catch 15, 16 pounds, and they're always wondering how those guys catch the 20-pound bag. The 20.
Some days I'm that guy wondering how the heck did they do that.
But, excuse me, you mentioned Prince and Emil.
It ain't him. You got little Benson.
Oh, listen, I coached him in football. He was my quarterback growing up.
Them guys are just amazing. That kid ain't no older than my daughter.
He's a hell of an angler.
Let me tell you something about Benson. We got a Oconee tournament. That kid's down there practicing for it, and it's a skeeter.
Yeah.
I had a little deal figured out. Little Benson, Paul using the wrong color, same bait. That kid drove all the way from Oconee to my house to give me the other color, because I didn't have any. To give me the other color, to end up and told me to cut my graphs off. Cut them off.
Yeah.
Never turn them on.
Yeah.
I did. That kid drove all the way up there for me to win that tournament.
Yeah.
I won it against him.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of kids I want to be friends with. You know why? It ain't because he helped me win. If he asked me tomorrow, hey, I'm broke down in Ohio, come get me,
You'd go
guess
get
what?
him.
I'm gonna go get them.
I think
That I like kids that's
100%.
not all about themselves.
100%. Sam, his dad, me and Sam are good
Yep.
buddies, and I coached, but he was my quarterback after my son graduated. I dropped back down and coached him coming up. He has seen the devil in me because he was the quarterback. So it didn't matter what any other kids did. It was, I had to fuss at somebody. And you always fuss at the quarterback because they're but I think the absolute world of that family. They're good people.
Yeah, and you watch, they're great people.
They're
His daddy
good
too.
people.
But you watch Emil, Lil Paul,
Yeah.
Buddy Benson.
Yeah.
They're all fishing Toyota this year.
Yeah.
They may stumble here or there, but consistently, when it's said and done,
It was
do they want to?
yeah.
They want to do it.
Well, when Emil won that BFL All-American or whatever it was in Hartwell to do the Red Crest, he beat out Matt McConnell and Buddy.
Yeah.
They were all kind of neck and neck through that. So, yeah, they're good people. So, Buddy, if you're watching, I'm talking good about you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he actually came up here and seen me a little while ago. It's funny when the kids you coach when they're 8, 9, 10 years old, now they're
Correct.
grown up,
Mhm.
they look in you right. Of course, everybody looks me in the eye. I'm short. But, yeah, he's a hell of an angler. But good people. That's the thing, too, we're missing a lot in the fishing world these days. A lot of people.
Hey, you're only as good as your word. That's all you are.
There you go. There you go. Like that. So let's see. He is dropping some knowledge. Listen up, youngsters. You can learn a few things. And I'm actually very pleased with that and I'm going to be honest with you because tonight's the first night you and I ever met.
That's correct.
You walked in and I was like, and I was telling Tim before the show, and I told other guys, I said, I've never met Paul. And people said he'd never come on here and talk. And I'm like, I don't know what to expect, but so far you've been as good as anybody we've ever had on here.
Hey, our numbers are through the roof right now. I'm sitting there watching these numbers, and this is probably the most attentive audience we've had. And I don't
100%.
I wanted to puke coming over here.
I know.
I'm serious.
I know.
You're that nervous?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the guy that sits in the park. I get there early. I sit in the parking lot. I sit in my boat, let whoever I'm fishing with go weigh the fish. It's not because I don't like people. I do. I just, I'm me.
I heard you's a hard ass.
I am.
No, hell no.
I'll tell somebody I'll whoop their ass in a minute. I don't put up with nothing.
Well, there's a difference in
You hear that, Randy Dover?
Yeah, well, Randy made a comment earlier. He's actually on here watching. So Randy, he actually told me.
I give him hell, but he's a good guy.
Randy, he actually told me, Paul said you would come on my show and talk. So Paul said you had to do it, right?
That's right.
So it's not that bad, is it? It's not bad coming on here. I tried to tell you, it's just like the way we want this show to be is just like guys sitting around a campfire just talking. And so I think you're doing absolutely
exactly.
great.
Ignore the cameras and just sit around and shoot the breeze.
Yeah. So how Clint Bartlett wants to know how heavy of a weight are you throwing in that old Nico rig?
1/16, 9% of the time.
Does it make that big of a difference?
It does.
It does.
It does to me.
Why?
Them 40-foot fish at Clark Keel I was throwing on this weekend.
Yeah.
It's taking forever to get down to them. But when they was glued to the bottom of that cold so hard that I wasn't even sure if they was fish, but it was a hard spot. I'd see what I call that little pimple and stare at it long enough. And I'd make myself believe it moved. So I'd throw it and it'd take forever to get down there. But what happened was I went to they rise up. When it got close, they'd show themselves. And usually it wasn't just one, it was 5, 6, 7. And you knew as soon as it hit and you popped it one time, I was going to eat it. I went to don't get me wrong, I don't know weight's good, but 330 seconds, I believe. I went to one that was probably a quarter more heavy stuffed in there. It falls so fast, I couldn't get bit on it. And it wasn't falling that much faster, but it's falling fast enough.
Just that difference in the weight.
I could not catch them on it. So I've got nothing but 1/16 in my boat, and that's what I'm going to catch them on.
You use the screw-in kind?
No, I do not. I use a poke. I poke them in.
So I was just tell you how bad I suck. I didn't know those screw-in kind. I was just poking them in, and I was throwing it, and I'd throw that wacky rig like that, and all of a sudden I'd hear, boom, my damn weight was flying off.
Fishing docks, people fishing without weights and stuff, they hook them right in the middle. I don't fish them on docks, very little. I fish them open water. floater fish or fish that's right on the bottom, I hook it. You know, they got a little egg sac looking thing on them. I'll always put my little clear rubber band is what I use. They come out with some new stuff I want to try, but I'll hook it to the top of that egg sac so it's when it hits, it more stands up. It falls faster. You're not hooked in the middle. It falls head first. And when it sits, I believe it heads down, you know, and when you bump it, the tail's sticking up more.
Almost like a shaky head kind of at that point.
Correct.
But you throw the bands.
I do. I throw the clear band.
All right, let me ask you this. When I started throwing a wacky rig, I felt like at the beginning I was using too big of a hook.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to where I use a very small hook.
I use a 1/0.
1/0. That was my question. So
I do.
You do use a
I
small
use a 1/0. Every once in a while, it'll get, I'll lose a fish and I'll reel it in. The hook's turned into the worm. That's why a lot of people do not use the band. The worm's weights cost so much that I'm going to use the band, get more out of it. Where if I just hook the worm, skin hook it, I'm going to catch that one fish and it's gone. Okay. If I was fishing a big money tournament, you know, 100,000 like he's going to get the fish for, I probably wouldn't use the band because I do lose some fish because that 1/0 will turn and get wrapped around that worm and you're just not going to get the hook in them good.
Yeah, I don't like using the band unless I'm really casting a long way.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I can't stand using that band. I've lost more fish using the band.
Well, you see that new thing they're making where it actually sticks through the worm and you hook that little piece that's sticking through that worm. They're hard to find right now, but they just come out and that's going to be the deal. I think I'm going to start using. One thing, you're not going to sling your worm off.
Yes.
If they ever short strike you, you set to pull back into them. It's not going to, you're going to come back with a rubber band. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
Well, with that, you're not going to.
What's your Cinco? You zoom on everything?
I pretty much always zoom. And I use other things. Whatever it takes to win, be competitive, right. I'm going to use it. That fluke stick, it's hard to beat.
You got me. I'm thinking about going out and buying some because I use Yamamoto's.
Yeah.
The only problem about Yamamoto's is after 5 casts.
And they're so expensive.
It's green pumpkin.
They are.
It's a little bit more hardier. It's a little heavier. But green pumpkin purple, green pumpkin, it don't matter. If it's green pumpkin, them fish couldn't carry.
So you don't throw any shad colors?
Every once in a while, it'd have to be summertime.
Summertime, you might go to shad.
Yeah, if they're up on top of the brush wanting something, and I can't catch them on a moving bait over top.
Yeah,
I'll throw a shad color or a pinkish color just to let it fall down and to get their attention.
Okay, that makes sense because I found and do you throw the wacky a lot?
Here and there. I mean, during spawning time, so during pre-spawn and spawn and post-spawn, I'll throw that.
Now you throw more of the green pumpkin colors.
I like watermelon red.
Watermelon red, but still got a little bit of green in it. Like that. So what I found
in the spring, watermelon red is dominant.
Mm-hmm.
You heard that, guys, right there. In the spring, watermelon red is dominant. Paul said so.
Pay close attention.
Pay close attention. That's juice. That is juice. What do you call it? That's not sugar-free juice.
That is not sugar-free juice. That is straight juice.
That's straight juice right there.
Take notes.
So, but here's something I found on Lanier, and maybe it's just me overthinking it, that with spotted bass, I like throwing shad colors on my wacky. Like if I'm skipping under a dock, letting it sink, when I fish a largemouth lake, I throw more of the green pumpkin kind of colors because I think it resembles brim a little bit more. So what you're telling me is that I probably can throw that green pumpkin blue, something like that year-round, spots, largemouth, it doesn't matter.
Correct. I put a little bit of chartreuse on the tail, very little.
Okay.
Just to maybe make it look like a brim or something. Just a spotted bass, just like chartreuse.
Yeah, I have found that.
I ain't dipping it. I'm not making it a bright chartreuse, but I'm going to take a stick and wipe a little bit on it.
Just a little. Yeah. You don't go crazy with it.
No.
So like those Cincos that you see that are green pumpkin all the way to that bright yellow, you don't use it.
No.
Just enough. Do you use scents? Like garlic, you know.
I am going to take my baits and either I'm going to boil them to make them more pliable.
Boil them.
Swim straight.
Yep, I heard about that.
You boil your
boil
your bait.
You get them softer.
Yeah, get some softer, more pliable. Get a herring. If your fluke is not running dead straight, if you ain't hooking it where you can speed burn it and it run dead straight, you're only going to catch maybe 20% of what you could be catching on Lake Lanier.
You boil your flukes too?
Yeah, you boil your flukes. I don't boil my fluke sticks. I boil
just your
super
flukes. Super flukes. Mm-hmm. You boil them.
Yeah.
How long? Because I've never heard anybody talk about boiling a fluke.
A couple minutes. Yeah. Do you add salt?
No, I don't add salt. But every bag, when I put them up, them fluke sticks or whatever I'm using, other than a fluke, you're burning it so fast, I don't think a scent helps whatsoever.
Got a question right there. How long do you boil them for? You said 3 or 4 minutes?
2 or 3 minutes. It ain't quite long.
You got your water in a rolling boil, and then you drop them in.
Drop them in.
And that makes them more pliable. Makes them swim better.
Yeah. You know, you'll take them out of the bag sometimes and the tail will be just a little bit off or something, and you hook it and it just won't swim straight. That'll help them swim straight.
Well, there you go. There's some more juice right there.
If the fluke is not running dead straight, they're not especially on a herring spawn, they're not going to eat it.
At what time of the year do you start throwing flukes?
All summer at night tournaments and all shad spawn.
Okay.
Summer. I will have a fluke tied on.
At night?
Yes.
During the summer?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, any kind of street light, you know. People
throwing it at the lights.
No, well, a lot of people throw them just at dock lights.
They're throwing at them green lights.
It can be a street light. It can be a light on the front of the dock that's a walkway light. Just anything that it'll hold the fish.
Okay, that makes sense. Now let me ask you this: you've mentioned several times. We got a question. I'll make sure you lay them straight after boiling.
Answer your scent question.
Yeah, scent. Do you use it?
Every bag I have, I doctor them up. Smelly jelly.
Smelly jelly.
I want some sparkle in it and a smelly jelly. That's what I use.
What does smelly jelly smell like?
Like ass.
Yum yum.
Yum Yum has made it to this podcast.
Made it to the podcast.
No, it's just garlic and stuff.
I've always wondered that question. You might have heard me ask it. There ain't nothing in the damn water smells like garlic. Why in the hell? At some point, somebody said there's always a first for everything. I'm gonna add garlic to my worms. What was that guy thinking?
B&M, the first one to come out. Somebody with the garlic scent. You open it, and it gagged you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't been able to smell since COVID, the first round of COVID. I've been going on 2 years now. But you open up garlic, and I can catch that for about, I don't know, half a second before it goes away. But still, I get smelling like shad, smelling like crawfish, smelling like whatever. But I've seen coffee scent, garlic scent, and I'm just like, somebody said that's a damn good idea, garlic. Why?
I don't know.
I gotta
Where did the coffee come from? I mean, who thought, well, I'm gonna dip my lure in
it was
coffee?
Probably me after a long Friday night, you know.
So when you go back to boiling your flukes, sometimes I boil my Senkos to make them soft. And what I do when I boil the water, I add tons of salt, tons and tons of salt. And the juice that I use is I make my own juice, my own garlic. So I take just minced garlic, get a pan, get that boiling with a lot of butter. Then I drain it.
Italian?
And then I drain it into the bag, and then I smush it with that. And that butter and that garlic sits on that salt so much better. It works. It's a little trick.
I'd be sitting there having that worm in my mouth, sucking that butter and garlic off.
It sounds like a really good dinner.
It does sound like good, noodles right there. But I've always often, seriously, and in all seriousness, I know we're having fun with it. I've often wondered why garlic. Is it just because it's that strong, or is it something they taste that they appeal to them? It makes no sense to me.
I feel like they hold on to the bait longer.
Just because it's something different.
Just something different, juicy. So I don't know.
He makes his own juice. These
got a little bite to it.
Just right themselves.
I think the whole scent thing, I think Rob's right. It just makes them, like, when they grab it for a few seconds, they're still trying to figure out what it is. Long enough for you to stick them.
Yeah, Kim Pruitt, 5 straight weeks of Yum Yum tips. That's right. So how does it taste? I just, that's the whole thing. He did that salt movement too well. I don't know what you did, but guys are picking up on how you did that salt. Did you do the Italian? You ain't Italian, are you?
Do we need to see that?
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah,
okay.
Salt shaker.
I've
I made sure I got that on
camera. That looks
camera.
like on Pornhub right there. Something like that. We ain't embarrassing you yet, are we?
No, you ain't gonna embarrass
So speaking about porn, Paul, I wanted to ask you this question.
Well,
all
righty then.
All right then.
Do you believe in the reverse spawn?
Is that like the cowgirl?
No, the reverse spawn. Do you believe? Okay, so
I have no idea.
your spawning times of the year are like late February, March, April, maybe beginning of May. Now, in Okeechobee, I found this out that fish start spawning right when that first cold snap happens. That water temperature drops at a specific temperature, and the fish start spawning early. And then when it starts getting cold, they kind of push off. I've noticed here in these Georgia lakes, like Notley, Lanier, I've fished during the beginning of the fall towards the middle, and that temperature drops. I've seen them pushed up. I've seen them spawn. And I call that a reverse spawn because they shouldn't be spawning that early. But
now,
I've seen
earliest
it.
I've ever seen them spawn to mount to anything is the middle of March here.
Really? Middle of March. What's the latest? Because Ryan and I,
you can go up the river up towards Laurel Park, Gainesville to Laurel Park area, and and I'm sure they spawn later. Like I said, I don't fish up there a lot,
right?
But Kevin Stowers, he loves to fish up there, and he took me up there before in middle of May, and still be plenty of bedding fish around. I just think most of your big ones, are going to be the end of March, the very 1st of April.
Gotcha. We got guys worrying about you because they think you need a cigarette about right now.
No,
you ain't fiending.
I'm good.
So you think like the bigger fish? I think that as well. I think bigger fish spawn first thing, and that's First thing. You're not going to get a lot of the bigger fish towards the tail end. They're done.
They're done.
Yeah,
I've heard that. But now last year, Ryan and I saw them on the bed south of the lake in like late.
Last year was screwed up.
It was screwed up.
It got so hot in March for about 2 weeks that everybody, I mean, it went from people ditch fishing and timber fishing and out there fishing road beds to all of a sudden it got so hot for 2 weeks that the whole internet lit up with the very back of creeks. I mean, you couldn't find a place to get in.
Right.
And then it just went stupid last year. It was really no rhyme or reason. And I love to bed fish, but I'm a lot more people smarter about it than I am.
Well, I understand that. Pull up Christopher Brown. And guys, again, hey, I love seeing all these names up here in the comment section. Glad you guys joined us tonight. I've heard of guys using WD-40 as a scent attractant. Actually, if you look on the can of WD-40, even right now to this day, it says fish attractant on it. What do you think that's for? Just the oil?
What will Hawkins say?
Oh, heck. Well, they'll pair up in October, November on Notley. Won't actually spawn, but go through the process.
that is 100% true.
And that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, because me and him witnessed that. He told me randomly.
That's a reverse spawn.
And we're like, did you see what I was seeing? And he's like, yeah, dude, there's 7-pounders and 3-pounders moving up.
So they're up there. They're up there doing the deed, but they ain't finishing the task.
I guess. But I've seen it, and Will's no dummy.
Maybe more of a courting. They're just doing a courtship.
I enjoy him like
WD-40. Before they was
back to that comment.
The first scent, I guess, that I seen that really was anything to it was Jack's Juice.
Yeah.
And before that, man, we sprayed WD-40 about every other cast.
Yeah, it still says it. Like you can go buy a can right now and it says fish attractant.
Oh yeah.
But I mean,
and I think it's because it just gives off that film.
Just that oil kind of
something different.
Something different. Spray some of that in your mouth. See how it tastes right there. There was a comment though. Go on up again, right under that comment we just pulled up about the coffee. Right there, it's very at the top, right there.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
So listen, with coffee, one of the Strike King lure designers poured his coffee in the water before a tournament and noticed fish eating on the coffee grounds, and he tried it on Strike King baits. Okay, well, at least with that, there's a rhyme or reason. You know, he saw it. I think I want to try it. I still don't get the garlic. So that's an interesting
Probably
comment.
the bait fish started going up there to eat the Louis bait fish to eat the coffee ground, and the fish just showed up.
Seriously. I mean, I've caught brim. Like I've ran out of crickets, brim fishing. I pulled out some chewing tobacco. I've seriously put a little string of chewing tobacco on and thought they think it's something. They'll eat anything. God, I always murder his name. Going down, E-Week. How do I pronounce that?
Ewick 2K.
How?
Ewick.
EW2K?
No, EW2K.
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 Have you noticed the quality of the spots up at Lanier has improved significantly over the last few years?
Yeah.
100%.
What do you attribute that to?
I can't tell you. I used to say the spots Lanier got big because we had trout, and they'd feed on them trout, and there's so much.
And they're gone now.
Yeah, they're gone, so you can't say that anymore. I believe more people fishing out there. I believe a lot of them spots live in the timber year round. I don't believe they ever go to the bank. I believe if some of them spawn in the top of trees.
Yeah,
I may be dead wrong. I know they do at Russell, spawn in them treetops. I just believe Liv Scope has helped a lot, but you still
we're catching fish that we never would have caught.
This time of the year, I never before would have been throwing in 5 to 8 foot of water.
Right.
After this hard cold front.
Yeah. But they're up there.
Some of them never leave.
Ryan always said that there are fish that live shallow year round. There are fish that live deep year round, and there's some that go back and forth.
I believe that.
Yes.
So if you're a worm chunker or a jig guy, and that tournament, they were casting at the bank, and it was windy and cold as all get go last Saturday, just dragging. And most of those fish from the guys I talked to were caught in 15 foot or less. And the water temperature was 47, 48 where they were fishing. So, but then there are those, like you said, they'll stay down 40, 50 feet year round.
I do. I believe it. I don't know what Lanier's got a lot of bait in it compared. You go to Clark Hill. I've been down there for 5 or 6 weeks. 5 or 6 times, and they got near the bait.
Right.
A lot of these lakes don't. Lanier has a lot of food source.
That's why I think Lanier is the crown jewel of spotted bass. I mean, you fish some lakes. You fished, and I know you fished a bunch, but like over the last few years, you fished quite a few baits. How would Lanier rank as far as like what he's saying, the bait that you see on your sonars and on,
there's bait everywhere. I mean, Lanier is the number one lake in this state, hands down, for spots, probably in the world. I mean, it's just insane what's out there. Like there's so many fish out there. Like it doesn't, like sometimes, the pressure happens, but there's so many fish out there. There's fish out there that probably never seen a lure before.
Yeah.
Because there's so many out there.
So many of them. I saw he's scrolling through because, good Lord, guys, there's a ton of comments now. We can't keep up with all of them, but I did see one. Bite a live. Pull that one up real quick. We're going to do that on air. In all seriousness,
hey, I'll make Vern come up here. Since
bite a live shad one day, and you'll probably understand the garlic scent. It's weird. Okay.
Yeah, I'll trust him.
Bite a live shad, and I'll understand. Okay, so hey, Tim, put that down on the list.
Oh, JP, Vern, he fishes with me. I'll make him do it.
Okay, because I'm wondering, is it threadfin or blueback, or does it matter what kind?
Yeah, clarify.
Also, I saw a comment, and we're going to get to that one at the top. Before we get to that, Trent Gobers, somebody asked me in the comments, do you nose hook your fluke? How do you rig your fluke?
I use a 5/0 off shank Gamakatsu hook, and I will barely skin hook the nose with my tip of my hook, and then run it slam through its back to where the point lays. It's laying perfectly flat. If you take the fluke and hook the whole nose of a Zoom fluke, the hook through the whole nose part of it to where it's laying in that offset, you'll never get it to run straight. But if you just take it and kind of just barely hook the nose, now the first fish you catch is coming off. It's going to rip the front of it because you're just barely hooking it. And you get that hook, the fluke to lay straight on that hook. I see some people, they can use weighted hooks and some regular J-style hooks and make them run straight. I personally just use a 5/0 Gamakatsu offset worm hook. And barely, take the point and barely stick it in the nose of it.
Let me tell you why I love this show, because I actually pay attention to our guests every time they come on, because I'm always trying to learn something. I have never been able to get a fluke to run what I think is proper. But I do that.
If you can't reel that fluke, throw it out there and reel it, just holding the rod straight, and it run perfectly. Reel it fast, and it run perfectly straight under the water. These herring lakes, you're going to catch 30% of what you should be catching.
That makes sense, because
a herring runs as straight and as fast as you can possibly see.
Because I'm one of those that take that hook, I go all the way through, like you said, and then come up and do what you said. I've got too much of the nose.
It's too much on the hook. It's just going to
too much on the hook.
Spin and wiggle and just it won't.
It pisses me off, and that's what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah.
See, I learned stuff. So that's why I love this right there. I mean, little bitty, everything about fishing is in the details. Little bitty details like that can make a break.
And this is not stuff, I feel like some of my friends are going to be mad at me.
Yeah.
But, in saying that, I didn't learn that on my own. I had somebody tell me that, show me that.
Right.
So if I can help somebody, hey,
I'm so
maybe
glad.
6 people come to my funeral.
Hey, I'm gonna be there, but I hope it ain't for a long time. Yeah. I want to be like 90 when you pass.
I still want to be in the pay line at 75.
That will be impressive. You'd be like your own Rick Clun or whatever.
That's right.
Yeah, dude. Hey, hell yeah, with that guy. He's got a young wife too, don't he?
I'm gonna keep mine.
You keep yours.
Mine's trained. She's good.
Trained?
Yep, and she's good to me.
Trained?
Trained.
Do you know what would happen to me if I went home and told my wife she was trained?
No, they got to know your quirks. And she'll throat punch me now. I don't get out of line.
I absolutely love it. So, okay. Do you put the flukes back in the original bag after boiling them?
Yes.
Boil them, stick them back in the bag.
Mm-hmm. I can't do it like them women at Zoom. That's the neatest thing I ever seen.
They're good.
I can't put 3 of them in there at one time and them lay straight.
I tried to.
They can take the whole wad, stick them right in there, and never be messed up.
It's a talent. It's talent. It's absolute talent. What's he drinking too much back there? This is like his second or third trip back there, ain't it?
So, guys, I read a recent study. My wife actually sent this to me. Recent study showed that 98% of the women that you're with like when their man is fishing or hunting because it gives them more time to clean. So
is that what it is?
Yeah, I bet.
Okay,
yeah.
Put that camera.
Hey, Rob, if you need a place to hang out tonight, I mean,
yeah, put that camera.
Oh, she's not hearing. She's
okay.
Hey,
you're safe.
Opinions expressed on the Fish North Georgia Livewell are not necessarily the opinions of the host and or Tim running the board.
Right.
You understand that. So you women out there who heard that you got more time to clean, that is all on Rob. That is not on
98%.
98%.
That's a high percentage.
98%.
Have you ever seen the and you ladies back there, please don't slap me for saying this. Have you ever seen the picture of God looking down on man and going, why are you guys messing with the dishwasher? I designed it right the first time.
Yeah. the joke around my house is oh God. People tell me you're going to hell, and I say, so what? I'm not scared.
Yeah.
Well, I ain't scared. Dude, I got a deal worked. I've been married to his sister for 39 years.
Oh my God. Listen, I love my wife, Amanda. I love you. You're the sweetest thing in the world, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Lord, I know it. You know what my wife does? I go fish a tournament, and she's like, I come home after 8 hours and I'm exhausted. I fish hard. I suck, but I fish hard. So I'll lay down on the couch and I'll fall asleep. And she's like, oh, you just been fishing.
Yeah.
You just been fishing. And she will take a damn Sharpie and she will color my fingernails and she'll draw tattoos on my neck and stuff like that. I'll wake up and she'll put them in places that you guys can see that I can't see. She's evil. She's evil. Like if you've married to Satan's sister, I got his niece at home. I get it.
All right.
I get it. So, let's see.
Wes is in trouble. Thanks, Rob.
Yeah, like that. Married. Scott Barnes knows his wife works with my wife. So listen, hey, y'all are the number one cause of divorce. Fishing's the number one cause. First 5 years of marriage, I thought loading the dishwasher meant getting my wife drunk. Oh my God.
Hey, Vern, if you need somewhere to stay, man.
Yeah, we don't sleep here tonight. Michael Temples has this question, but he also had one earlier. So this is a 2-part question for you. I know you're old, but you got to do 2 of them right here, okay? All right, so his first question was, how are you approaching the pre-spawn right now? I believe that's what it was, Michael. And right now he goes, what's the biggest tournament that Paul has won and the best memories from it?
Good question. Well, let's see. I suck at BFLs. I can't win one of them, save my life. They got my number. Biggest thing I've won is Skeeter, H&Ds. I was a second place man for a lot of years in H&D, and I finally won one. And I won 3 or 4 of them. Skeeter's probably the hardest thing I've ever tried to win. I don't fish. I don't fish any big tournaments. Pretty much stay around state where I know I think I can compete.
Right. I got you. Pre-spawn real quick. How are you approaching it?
I'm not yet.
When do you think that kicks in?
For me, when I start targeting fish moving up will be the middle of next month. In saying that, there's some already. I think they live pretty much in that area. So like he was saying, marinas, I'm 100% with him on that. Them fish live there. They never leave. I made a living winning, just winning a lot of tournaments before all the electronics come out. And I camped in marinas from the start to the finish. I still will go to a marina to this day if I'm having a bad day because them fish live there.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to ask this. Let me get a serious question real quick. James Kinder wants to know, take Lanier out of the question. What's your next favorite lake? You don't get to fish Lanier. What lake you going to? Your next favorite. That's what Kaz Anderson said earlier.
Chateau.
Fishes a lot like Lanier, right?
Identical to me is take the timber out.
Take the timber out, but
now they got grass in it, and that I don't care for that.
Right.
I'm not a grass guy.
But
you put me at Okeechobee.
Oh, I love grass.
You put me at Okeechobee or somewhere, I'm gonna finish dead last.
And you should do good. You grew up. You cut your teeth on that. Now, since we've been going quite a while in this show, I kind of held off to this. But Cole, pull up the Cole. Going up a couple. He had a question. It's Clayton. All right, let me ask you this question first of all. Ask him about the boat he was supposed to win but got called for a dead fish.
An H&D 2-day. I led first day, was right there close to the lead, best of my knowledge. It was winter time. It was about this time of the year. Pulled up, weighed the fish. The fish was all alive. It was a boat pulled through weigh in. I put them in the bag. My partner took them up there, and some guy loved him to death, Perry Murphy, stuck his big ass finger down his throat, and because it didn't clamp down on his finger, he called it dead.
Really?
Said that a fish throat muscles, if it ain't dead.
Well,
long story short, I won a $10,000 boat instead of a $30,000 boat, and I lost by 2/100ths of an ounce because of that dead penalty. Me and Perry's friends. Perry would bend over backwards for me. Still this day, I feel he was wrong.
Yeah.
But he was doing the fish weigh in, and he was the guy, and you just got to respect it and move on.
All right, here's my damn question.
And he's big. I'd hate to get into it.
How big have your damn hands got to be?
Dude, his fingers is big around my forearm.
I was about to say,
he killed the fish.
That's a long damn way.
He killed the fish.
Then it's his fault. Well, it's over now, but yeah. But
I mean,
the fish was cold. He wasn't moving.
Listen, how big do your hands have to be? Think of a bass to actually just stick your hand in there and gag a fish to death. The gag reflex didn't work. Is what he's saying. That sounds like a bunch of BS.
He's a good guy.
All right, so
fish was probably, all honestly, fish might have died in that 3 seconds. It went from my boat to the.
But it was live. I get that. So
I love you, Perry.
He loves you, Perry. If you're watching, Perry, I love you too. And God, Lords, don't get near my wife with fingers like that.
Yeah,
Mr. Paul, how do you feel about a Carolina rig? It's a great old school way to catch fish. I hate it, but I know it works. And I want you to answer that question too. So how do you think about Carolina rig?
Me personally, you can take it, an Alabama rig, and a spinner bait.
I know where this is going.
And leave them at the house.
You don't like it.
If you can catch them on a Carolina rig. Now, I don't know about these shallow lakes because I'm just not that guy. I'm going to wear your butt out with a jig head, 8,000 jig head.
Okay. What about you, Carolina rig?
I like Carolina rigging in specific lakes, not Lanier.
What lake would you be Carolina rigging?
Harris Chain is a good Carolina rig lake. I've caught some fish over at Notley, Carolina rigging. Caught some fish in Hartwell, Carolina rigging.
Okay. I hate it. So Bass because my wife is the best because she fishes too. Hey, I got you. There you go. All right. So I'm going to give you 2 serious questions, and then I'm going to end on the question I want to answer. So one is, Paul, have you ever fished Lake Burton?
Yes, one time. Fished a New Year's tournament because back in the day, Lanier didn't have any, maybe once every 3 months did we have a tournament here. And I went up there and fished a New Year's, had a big spot, big largemouth, didn't know anything about the lake, never seen it. Caught a 6'2" spot and thought I was going to get something, and I was 4th biggest spot, so I've never went back.
Okay. Would you rather fish saltwater or freshwater?
If I lived 3 hours closer to the ocean, I would not own a bass boat.
You like it? That's what I pulled up your Facebook page to get a picture of you, and I had to text you and like, is there any bass pictures on you? You had all saltwater.
No, my family all loves it. I love it. Of course, any tournament down there I want to get in, just from competitive.
If Paul fishes a tournament on Hartwell tomorrow, what bait is he going to bring fishing, and what's your go-to baits on Hartwell?
This time of year, Hartwell's just like Lanier. I'm going to find me a creek to start off the morning with that's got a feeder in it where it's got a little bit of stain. I'm going to throw some kind of 3.3 size bait on a fish head, whatever you want to throw, but I'm going to pump it like a worm on the bottom. I'm not going to just straight reel it back to the boat. And then I'm going to go out and throw a 1/8 ounce Cinco or Nico rig is what I'm going to do. Okay.
Final question of the night for you. How do you stay warm in cold weather? All the kids have gone to bed by now. Say it like you want to say it.
I take 2 Viagra or Cialis lasts longer in the mornings before I go. Sit in the truck, drink Red Bulls, activate it good, keeps my blood pumping. My partner ain't pretty, so we don't have no effects. And if I get somebody in the boat that's hollering cold, then I call my little girl and tell them they got built-in hand warmers, stick her hands there.
You said that in a much politer way than I thought you might.
I didn't want to lose your.
You ain't gonna lose nothing. I ain't got nothing but daggum heathens like me watching like that. So, all right. So real quick. So I want to make sure I hit you guys. So next week, for Rob here and Will Hawkins and several of the guys that have been on recently, the NPFL is on Logan Martin, right? Now, where can you watch it?
You can watch it on Fix TV.
That's PHYX.
And then I think the day one, they're going to allow the first couple of hours. I think it's going to be on Facebook and the NPFL website. And then if I'm not mistaken, they're going to have 3 bonus cams for day one. And then obviously when it goes to day 2, day 3, those are going to be live coverage. So the top 5 and day 2 and day 3 will have a camera, and then there'll be 3 extra bonus cams.
Okay, so that's pretty cool. So the cool thing about doing this show is we get to meet people like Rob and all that. Now we know where we can follow them. Will Hawkins, that was on a couple of episodes ago, young kid. He was actually second in Angler of the Year last year.
He had a lot of seconds.
So we're going to get to see that. So you guys, hey, listen, when the NPFL's on, you guys follow Rob, follow Will, quite a few others in the local area that are fishing it. So that's going to be really cool. Support your NPFL because I like that league because it's got a lot of guys like us. Now, Mr. Paul, I want to tell you, number one, it has been a privilege and an honor to have you up. I know I said living legend.
I got to say something real quick.
You say whatever you want.
I forgot about it. He didn't want me to do it, but I got to do it.
Do it. Go ahead.
Everybody, if y'all right before tournament time at night, you're always looking, and I know I got that bait, and you can't find it. Hey, Greg Holly has got the biggest bait store in his basement that you'd ever want to, anything you might need.
Greg Holly's got it.
Oh, buddy, them Finn twins and them, he's got a small Hammond.
So do I need to call him to stock my store?
If you need something, dude,
Greg Holly's got it.
Hey, and he'll bend that guy will help me do anything I need.
That's good. That's good.
I'll do the same for him. Another things, hey, I want to plug myself. I got an OnlyFans page. I sell feet pictures.
Holy shit.
Sell feet pictures.
You got to be kidding.
No, I do.
What's the link? I want to check that out.
Yeah. How can we
how do I subscribe?
Paul's feet?
It's at eugenesfeet.com.
eugenesfeet.com.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Dude,
You heard it here, folks.
You got to have a side gig. I watch a meal and all them boys. They got them things.
They got an
That's
OnlyFans?
Dude, that's how they afford to do this.
I don't even know what the
I
hell to
knew
say.
it.
You heard a meal last week or when he was on here talking about you got to donate. You got to get your brains beat in. Well, he could afford to do that.
You think I can make some money with my feet?
Dude, there's women out there that will pay anything
To see my feet.
Dude, I'm telling you, I got the worst looking feet. My friends, please don't wear flip flops. I got a white toenail and a black toenail on both feet. They're and calluses. I mean, it's bad. But hey,
How do you know it's women watching it?
I don't know that. I don't care.
You don't give a shit.
long
As long as they
get
send
that check.
$4.99.
As long as they subscribe and pay.
They don't care like
I don't
that.
do that. $4.99.
Okay, well, guys, there you go. Make sure you go to OnlyFans to see Paul's
Lord.
feet. Don't blame me for whatever you see there. It is
That's
not me. He's got corn chips as big as toenails. Now the OnlyFans. Stacy Martin Mullins, OnlyFans. Hey, listen, I thought about doing that, putting my feet on there. I just need like an extra couple hundred.
Everybody's got to have a side gig.
Let's do a calendar. Like, could we do a calendar where like we get the top anglers from Lake
I'm
Lanier?
all in.
Y'all, like if I dress you up in a bikini with a thong,
I can be that old dude.
you'll wear a thong for
No,
me.
I'm not scared.
What, you got a squirrel in the front?
Dude, I ain't gonna go there.
You ain't never seen them guys. I was down at Fort Lauderdale one time, and the old man was about 70, 75. He's jogging right along the beach, and then he's in a thong. And I'm like, my God, it looked like a small squirrel in the front of that guy's thong.
Dude,
It was like I didn't know what to do.
But you know what? The funny thing is that you couldn't stop staring at it.
No, I couldn't. I was
Right.
like, seriously. I was like, it was my one gay moment.
that's one reason I don't do good in BFLs because you got a partner you don't know. You just don't know them. They don't know you. And when you're my age and it's cold and it's winter,
Yeah.
dude, I had to drop all my stuff all the way to my ankles.
To drop a
Take my
deuce.
thumb, stick it in the back so it'll poke out enough to piss so I don't piss all over my knees and over the side of the boat. It's bad. That's why.
And you're on Cialis. Red Bull
Still, I tell
Cialis.
you, it's cold, dude.
You are the guy that they say, if you have a 4-hour erection, you need to get medical attention. That's you.
No,
You're not.
No,
You like a cold turtle?
Yeah.
I feel
It's
you,
terrible.
buddy. I feel you because there ain't nothing worse than putting on
Inverted.
5 or
I mean,
6
you
layers
get 60 years old, stuff starts going the wrong way.
and your stomach sticks out. And I'm like, I can't see what I'm working with, boys. I'm just guessing at that point.
Wow.
But anyway, Paul, listen, seriously, I have enjoyed this conversation as much as any conversation I've had, and you've dropped plenty of knowledge. And I want to thank you personally for taking the time out of your life
I enjoyed it.
to come up here. And it wasn't as bad as you thought it was it?
Well, it's not.
It was. So you can come back sometime, right?
I can.
Perfect. So, all right, guys, that's the end of the live well tonight. We appreciate every one of you guys. Yeah, cold turtle, Philip Hutchinson, Robert Woody. Just wow. Listen, you never know what rabbit hole we will go down here. Again, if your kids are watching this show, ain't for you. So,
Sorry.
hey, we're sorry about that. We apologize in advance. But, guys, listen, seriously, we appreciate you guys watching. And next week, again, I got Kaz Anderson and Jordan Lee, 2-time Bassmaster Classics, going to be on. Jordan will be piping him in from Alabama. He won't drive all the way out here, but Kaz will be here. We want you guys to enjoy us. Enjoy the show next week. Join us. And again, if you're fishing this weekend, please be safe. We want to make sure you get home and can enjoy the lake at a later date. So we appreciate you guys. We love you. We'll see you next week.